When the prestige reached the top, the figure instantly opened his eyes, a pair of eyes bright to the extreme, handsome and coquettish face, such as flawless, but also incomparably handsome. Thin lips like a knife cut, black hair down spread out, scattered a few strands floating in front of the chest, for the white man added a bit more evil. Long Qingxie's eyes looked up at the sky. His eyes were affectionate, his lips were thin, and his voice was very charming. "Little thing, are you in a hurry? Waifu is coming to you." Warcraft Forest. Shengwan asked for nothing. He touched his nose and was silent. They ate the meat in their hands silently, and no one spoke anymore. For a long time, until the flame is burned out. Shengwan was already sleepy on the tree. He turned to see Mu Yunling beside him and found that she was still holding her sword, sitting on one side and looking at the sky, as if she didn't feel tired at all. Shengwan just wanted to ask Mu Yunling if he wanted to have a rest, but suddenly he heard Mu Yunling say faintly, "Don't talk too much if you are seriously injured. Go to bed quickly. I'll watch the night, and we'll start tomorrow morning." Helpless, Shengwan had to sit under the tree, looking at his feet in a daze. But looking at the woman who seemed to be on a par with himself, Shengwan was full of doubts and didn't know how to say it. However, even if he was sleepy and couldn't sleep, he scratched his head and sat up with a sigh. "I said, Miss Mu, you said it's because of me. Why are you here?" Mu Yunling turned his head, glanced at the Shengwan, then turned to look at the sky. He seemed to be impatient. "Is it good for you to ask so many questions? But you know all about me, and I don't know anything about you. I'm worried that you sold me to someone else as a coolie when I was seriously injured." Mu Yunling was so angry that he couldn't speak. He swallowed his saliva and stared at Shengwan for a long time. Then he said leisurely, "I just want to sell you to be a coolie. What can you do for me?" But with a bitter smile, how can this girl change her face faster than turning a book? If this rhythm goes on, it's hard to say whether she wants to be fooled by applause. "Ah, that girl, it's like this. My friends and I have been sent to places I don't know. I want to find them. I want to ask you if there is any transmission array here. Maybe." Before she finished speaking, Mu Yunling had closed her eyes. Of course, she didn't really want to sleep, but she was saying that she didn't want to listen to you. Shengwan choked for a long time, then finally sighed and looked up at the sky. "What kind of people will you meet tomorrow? Will you encounter any unexpected events? Will you encounter the pursuit of the beast, gate in my heart? I feel a little uneasy, but I can't resist the security of having someone around me in this primeval forest. I can't stand the heavy eyelids. Gradually, the whole person is to go to consciousness, sleep in the past. When I woke up again, I was pulled up from the ground by Mu Yunling. Before I could open my eyes, I felt a chill around me. Then, with a crash, his face was poured into the cold river. Suddenly, Shengwan jumped up from the ground. "Hello," I said. "Miss Muyun, you are wrong." While criticizing Mu Yunling, Shengwan plans to wipe the water on his face with his hand, but suddenly finds out. "When was my hand tied?" He raised his head and looked at Mu Yunling in shock, but saw that Mu Yunling grinned and glanced behind him. Shengwan swallowed and couldn't help looking behind him. Behind him stood 3 big men, all with long swords and a cold face. These 3 big men, tall, covered all the sunshine around the Shengwan, which made him feel ashamed. "Good morning." Shengwan said hello with a smile, but his heart could not help surging. "What's going on? Why? What happened?" Shengwan was tied, turned his head, and looked at Xiaomu Yunling for no reason. He raised his eyebrow and asked, "What does that mean? I don't understand." "Ah, it's just that they thought you were bullying me." Mu Yunling lowered his head, very embarrassed, blushing. "I bully you? I bully you? Why should I bully you?" Shengwan wailed and struggled twice. I found that these 2 men must be practitioners, and this binding technique is unique. I only feel a pain in my hand. It seems that the rope is made of special, with his strength struggling for a long time, but still motionless. I told him. Mu Yunling blinked a pair of watery eyes and looked at Shengwan pitifully. "I'll go. This girl is not easy to provoke." "Wait a minute. It was so majestic yesterday. Where is it today? No why? Shengguan was puzzled. But before Mu Yunling could reply, the two men behind him had already picked him up and threw him into a carriage. Another man took Mu Yunling to another carriage, and then the two carriages bumped forward on the road. Sitting in the carriage, the Shengguan kept silent and lowered his head. Two big men sat beside him and looked at him without blinking, which made him very angry. Can't help shouting, "Hello! Don't look at me all the time. It's like you're in love with me." The two men frowned and seemed to be displeased. They raised their fists and motioned to Shengguan that if they were not honest, they would be beaten. Shengguan was very depressed. He became a flower gatherer for no reason. He was bound and sent to the tribe for trial, which made everyone feel very uncomfortable. But now, I'm afraid no one is too lazy to listen to his explanation. Thinking about this, he simply closed his eyes and soon fell asleep. It was not until he was picked up again that Shengguan opened his eyes. Before he could see what kind of tribe it was, he was pushed into a room by two big men and slammed the door. Shengguan immediately felt that the whole person was not good. It was an open-air cell, which was placed in the middle of a square. Around them were plain-looking people in coarse linen. They pointed at the Shengguan one by one and seemed to be talking about something. What's the matter with this? It's strange for the people of this tribe to have such differential treatment. Shengguan is still murmuring. I don't know why. In a moment. But I saw Mu Yunling led by an old man and came this way. The old man was dignified, frowning, with his hands on his back, followed by 6 soldiers with weapons, and his face was serious. The cells were gradually surrounded by villagers. You are the one who defiled my daughter? The old man was standing on the edge of the cell. Some soldiers had moved the chair over. The old man sat directly opposite Shengguan and looked at Shengguan. Shengguan was stunned. He didn't know what he was doing. He looked at the old man in front of him and Mu Yunling beside him. Defile? What do you mean? Mu Yunling stood beside the old man, but lowered her head and didn't look at Shengguan's face at all. Therefore, she couldn't see Shengguan's face. Tell me why you're selling my daughter. The old man was very angry. Looking at Shengguan's confused face, there was a green fight in his palm. Ah! With the scream of Mu Yunling, he attacked the Shengguan in the prison. Shengguan was tied with both arms and seriously injured, so he had no time to dodge. He got a hard hit from the old man, and his blood suddenly surged up. A mouthful of blood gushed out, and he fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Do you think you can bully anyone? It's not good or bad. The voice of the old man made all the people around him dare not speak. The onlookers seemed to be more noisy, and countless voices of abnormal and sex wolf came to the ears of Shengguan from all directions. Shengguan felt as if there was a stone in his heart. He couldn't spit it out and swallow it. He was so miserable that he bit his teeth and didn't say a word. His chest seemed to explode, which made his eyes black. However, in front of Mu Yunling's eyes with tears, let him how also hate. That I seems to say to him, in fact, things are not like this, I do not want such a result. Suddenly, I feel a little miserable. Shengguan can't help grinning. He usually talks a lot of nonsense, but now he doesn't want to say anything. He lies on the ground, letting people around him point out. You take care of him, shut him up for a day, and decide what to do with him tomorrow, the old man said seriously. Several soldiers around answered yes, so the old man got up and took Mu Yunling back. Mu Yunling couldn't help looking back at the cell. Tears in his eyes could not stop flowing down. Until evening, no one came to see Shengguan. He lay on the ground, closed his eyes, and never got up. His health was getting worse and worse. If he knew that it would be like this, he might as well have been bitten to death by the warcraft in the wild. Now it seems that death is not far away. Thinking about this, I suddenly heard someone call his name softly. Shengguan breathed out. You don't have to think about it. In this tribe, only Mu Yunling knows his name. Other people don't know who he is. So it must be Mu Yunling who hides behind him. Shengguan, are you awake? Mu Yunling squatted behind the wooden prison and asked quietly. Shengguan didn't care about her. He simply closed his eyes and pretended that he hadn't woken up. Behind him, Mu Yunling sighed. His voice seemed very disappointed and anxious. Shangguan, are you doing anything now? I'm really worried about you. That I know you're angry about this strange thing today. After a long silence, Shangguan felt very angry. He wanted to stand up and make a theory. Oh, a normal man would be happy to be charged with such a crime. But if I don't say that, you may have been eaten by Warcraft now. Mu Yunling curled his mouth, and the voice sounded very crooked. Because our Xinyu tribe is fighting with the nearby Yu tribe, we don't know what everyone is from. If I rashly take you back to the tribe, you will be killed by random sticks. Shangguan's heart moved. That's why. No wonder Mu Yunling would say that. Suddenly, his heart relaxed a lot. But the doubt came again. In this case, I'm afraid I can't wash myself when I jump into the swamp. Behind him, Mu Yunling took out a bottle from his clothes, put it on the ground with a clatter, and untied the Shangguan's hands. After a long silence, he finally said, "This is the Huishan pill I stole from my father. It's for your healing. This pill is very precious. There are only 2 pills left. My father hurt you. I'll apologize to you. Take care of yourself. I'll explain it to my father clearly, so you don't have to worry. I'll see you tomorrow," said. Behind Dada footsteps sound up, and then gradually smaller, and finally completely disappeared. Shangguan vomited and finally opened his eyes. There was no hatred in his eyes. I see. If only you had explained it to me earlier. Then he sat up and took the small porcelain bottle from behind. Open, a strong fragrance of medicine overflowed from the bottle, immediately let Shangguan brain a burst of fresh. Even the chest injury feel a lot less pain. It's really a good thing. In front of his eyes, Shangguan poured out the pill, raised his hand, and fed it into his mouth. He raised his head and swallowed it. Suddenly, straight down from the throat, gradually melting into a warm current, all the way to the lower abdomen. 3 days passed quickly. In the early morning of that day, Yunwu woke up from the cultivation state. After entering the realm of Wuzong, the improvement of strength is slower, and it is often impossible to make much progress in the whole day of cultivation. But the cultivation is not urgent, only a little accumulation. Yunwu opens the window and looks at the street outside. A large number of strong people keep pouring out of the city. There is only one direction for them, the Summoner's Tomb. Long Qingxia, will you show up? Cloud Dance, silently thought of in the heart. Faintly, unexpectedly, some look forward to the next treasure fight. The door of the room was knocked, and Yunwu whispered, "Come in." Little Dance, are you ready?" With showing a face excited rushed into the room, followed by Lin Yuntong, 2 people a front and a back into the room of Cloud Dance. Mu Xiuming came to Yunwu and looked out of the window like her. He saw the sea of people rushing out of the city. The noise resounded in every corner of Huoshi town. Mu Xiuming's hearing is excellent. From time to time, 1 or 2 words pop out and come into his ears. When he mentions summoner, everyone's face is full of longing and yearning. Mu Xiuming grinned. I don't know what their reaction would be if they knew that a summoner would appear today. This time, several Wuzong went, as we all know. I'm afraid that there will be more powerful people. Lin Yuntong also went to the bedside, heard someone talk about the strength of the several city masters. Can't help saying. Cloud Dance nodded. The strength of Wuzong can come out so many people at a time, so it's not strange to come out 1 or 2 more Wudi. But Yunwu is not worried. She has been in the realm of Emperor Wu for some time. Although she is not the top, she is confident that in the realm of Emperor Wu, the General Emperor will not be her opponent at all. Time's up. It's time for us to go too. Cloud Dance finally took a look at the crowd below, turned to the 2 people around and said, if you go too late, you'll have to squeeze together with other people at that time, which will inevitably affect your action. Mu Xiuming and Lin Yuntong nodded, and then the 3 followed the army out of the gate and moved toward the outside of the city. They didn't know where the tomb was, but all of them were in the same direction. Even if they didn't know before, they could find it by following the crowd. Cloud Dance, 3 people talk and laugh. It doesn't look like they're going to fight for the baby. The road attracted people's attention. When I got to the forest, I obviously felt that there were fewer people. I thought there were so many people going. I just wanted to see the excitement. Mu Xiaoming looked at those who stopped outside the forest, felt their strength, and said, "After all, it's too dangerous. No matter how attractive the treasure is, you have to save your life." Lin Yuntong said, "She is a samurai. Before entering the forest, she entered the fighting state wearing a water blue combat suit, which made her always gentle, a little more tough. When you enter the forest, you will walk further and further inside, for fear that you will meet all kinds of people. At that time, in the face of the huge treasures in the tomb, I'm afraid that someone will have evil intentions." Cloud Dance's cold voice says, "That kind of circumstance is certain to meet." But looking at Mu Xiaoming's appearance, that he is sure to succeed in the inheritance. And even Lin Yuntong is still very gentle in the battle. Yunwu thinks it's better to explain himself. "Don't worry, little Dance. We know that. Let's go. We'll follow you." Mu Xiaoming said seriously, but the excitement in his eyes could not be concealed. "Although I can't get the inheritance, I feel even more excited when I think of Cloud Dance. The strength of the three people is much stronger than that of the people around them. So although they didn't deliberately speed up, they're very fast compared with those people, and they soon surpass many people all the way. Although Yunwu doesn't want to cause trouble, it doesn't mean other people think so. Those three people in front, stop for me." The arrogant voice rings out. The Cloud Dance's three people, only to call others, did not care. The footstep does not stop at the foot, continue to talk and laugh forward. "Asshole, I didn't understand, did I?" The arrogant voice sounded again. This time, a strong breath directly from behind towards the middle of the cloud attack in the past. Yunwu's face sank, and his figure did not move. The purple fighting spirit floated on the surface and directly blocked the attack. The purple light flickered so fast that people around thought they were dazzled, but still some people cried out in shock. "Purple fighting spirit!" A man pointed to Cloud Dance in shock and said that his eyes were full of disbelief. "True or false?" The other one didn't see it, so he quickly asked, "Are you wrong? How is purple fighting possible?" "Really? That's the woman." For a moment, the eyes of all the people around were on Yunwu. Cloud Dance frowned. Originally intended to go quietly toward the depths, in the end, or attracted attention. People around the eyes from the initial shock to later fear, and then slowly turned into a defensive. Mu Xiaoming felt those people's eyes, and his face sank in an instant. There is only one goal for these people. That is the treasure in the grave. If more people go in, the treasure will get less points. If the person who goes in is a strong one, then that person is doomed to be the target of public criticism. They dare not and can't stir up masters like the city master, but they dare to deal with people like Yunwu who don't know their specific strength and have no reputation. Yunwu coldly looks at the expression changes of the people around her and knows that she is too clumsy to hide. Unexpectedly, she lets these people have an idea about her. "I advise you, little girl, the grave is very dangerous. You'd better go home and don't come out to do these dangerous things." "Yes, little girl, it's too dangerous in there. If you break your arm and leg when you come out and go back, your family will be worried. Baby is good, but you have to have your life to get it." People around have different opinions, as if they are thinking about Cloud Dance. But the eyes were full of warnings. If they are afraid of the strength of Cloud Dance, they are shocked by the purple fighting spirit. But when they see that so many people around them are the same as themselves, they regard Cloud Dance as a thorn in the flesh, and that fear disappears, as if they have the strength to make threats. Yunwu looks at them coldly, taking a panoramic view of those people's looks. It seems that they are afraid that you are stronger than them and will rob their property. Mu Xiaoming stands beside Yunwu and looks at the people around him casually. "Go, leave them alone," Cloud Dance's cold voice to say, then turn round to fly toward the deep place directly. Mu Xiaoming and Lin Yuntong, two people closely, follow up. "Stop!" Stop them at this time. The person who had been fighting against Yunwu not only didn't leave, but also speeded up the speed and flew to the depth. So he directly glared and roared. People around have formed a tacit understanding. They all acquiesce that Yunwu can't pass through. Someone has been standing in front of Yunwu for a long time to stop her from going deep. As soon as Yunwu's face sank and his palm turned, the ancient sword appeared directly in his palm, but there was no black flame on it. As soon as the ancient martial arts sword appeared, many people's eyes lit up. Staring at the sword on Yunwu's palm, they showed greedy eyes. Yunwu naturally felt it, and her eyes were cold. Coveting his weapons? Also want to see if you have that ability. With a wave of his arm, Gu Wu's big knife cut directly at the people who were standing in front of him on the ground. Hand up, knife down. The back of the knife heavily lifted him out, heavily hit the side of the tree. Bone came click sound. If it were not for Yunwu's mercy, all those people would have died at this time. Tut-tut, I'm really out of my ability. If I don't weigh each other's strength, I won't be in the front. I dare to stop the way of little dance. Mu Xiaoming stood with his arms in his arms to watch the excitement, shaking his head and saying to those people who fell to the ground and were humming. Yunwu stood in place and didn't speak. His eyes moved coldly in the surrounding crowd. To defeat so many heroes in one move, those who covet the cloud dance weapons have some convergence, but still a large part of them are still looking at the cloud dance sword. A move! As long as a move, it must be the reason of the knife, will defeat those people. If you can own the knife, it will be much more powerful. It's an idea in almost everyone's mind, and it's obvious that more and more people have this idea, and they don't hide their salivation. Cloud Dance sneered, looking at those staring at their wounded weapons. Cold voice sounded, and he said, "You want my weapon? If you have the guts." Come the words of Cloud Dance, like a bomb, were thrown into the crowd, and instantly ignited the desire of countless people. Go. How powerful can this little girl film be? I think it's all because of her hands. Yes, let's get rid of her so that we can go to the grave, or it will be too late. Yes, let's go. As if a consensus had been reached, a group of people flashed greedy eyes directly toward Yunwu. I'll help her. Lin Yuntong said that he quickly lit up his weapon and wanted to go up. No, 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 no. Mu Xiaoming stretched out his hand and stopped her directly. These little soldiers and shrimps are not the opponents of Xiaowu at all. If she can't even deal with these people, there's no need to mention those who are better than grave babies. After listening to Mu Xiaoming, Lin Yuntong stops, but still frowns and looks at the people who are fighting in the field. Cloud Dance seems to be scared silly, as if do not know how to act. Those people who covet the ancient martial arts sword come directly, but Yunwu has been standing in the same place without action. Finally, the first person came in front of him with a sneer, and his body moved directly to the man's back. His hand fell, and he cut his right arm on the bearer's shoulder. "Ah!" cried the man, as if he had seen something terrible. "Why is it so fast?" But without waiting for him to think about why, Yunwu had already kicked him out, turned around, and rushed to the next target. The screams resound in the forest. Yunwu is like a murderer. He sees blood on everyone, but he doesn't kill anyone. Those who rushed over later had already regretted it. Looking at the action of Cloud Dance, they were so dazzled that they couldn't tell where they were. The feeling of terror swept everyone's heart, and then looked at the Cloud Dance eyes full of panic. Did not expect that such a young girl should have such a terrible strength. Yunwu's action finally stopped, and many figures were lying beside him. All of them were people who didn't want to rush up. Cloud Dance cold vision swept around the people. Swept people cannot help but play a shiver. Those who had been scrambling to snatch the ancient sword stopped one after another, hoping to get further away from Yunwu. Although people on the ground are seriously injured, their strength will be affected even if they are saved. Cloud Dance is merciless. It's the biggest concession to let them live. If you dare to covet her things, you should do well in this kind of consciousness. Anybody else want it? Cloud Dance coldly said, with the internal power to spread out the sound, so that all the people present can clearly hear. The voice seemed to come from hell, and no one dared to answer her. With a sneer, Yunwu turns around and beckons to Mu Xiaoming and Lin Yuntong. They fly to the depths together. This time, no one dared to stop her. You beat them so badly that you are not afraid of revenge? Mu Xiaoming comes to Yunwu and asks. Those people are just temporary teams of greedy people. They are lax in their actions. They don't have the ability to retaliate. Cloud Dance coldly said, "What's more, I have left them a life. If they have self-knowledge, they should know how to do. Don't provoke me again is the right behavior." Mu Xiaoming said with a smile, "You are really impolite. They are all desperators, but you don't want to kill them. Do you want to leave a curse?" Cloud Dance doesn't think so. "What's that? I'm just trying to look good on the surface. Looking for other people also needs some big families in Flint Town, so it's better not to make trouble. But if things come to me, I will not give in easily." There was a smile in Mu Xiaoming's eyes, but he didn't say anything more. 3 people speed is extremely fast. This time is deliberately do not say hello to other people. So soon arrived at the destination. A huge palace looms between the trees. There are fluctuations of space elements in the air. Just looking at the palace, many people show their salivating eyes. Cloud Dance 3 people can slow down when they are about to arrive, so that they are not so attractive, mixed in the crowd to see the palace. At this time, the gate of the palace was already a sea of people. Everyone looked at the gate of the palace with greedy eyes, but no one dared to get close to it. Near the gate of the palace, there were a group of bodyguards dressed in black strong clothes, armed in a circle, who kept no one near the gate of the palace, as if waiting for something strange. Mu Xiaoming grabbed a man who was talking to his friend and asked, "This man, why are there so many people? Don't you go in yet?" That person might as well be caught for a moment. Just want to get angry, see Mu Xiaoming a smile to ask him a question, also politely call him brother. As the saying goes, the man who reaches out his hand and doesn't smile is no longer angry. He also says happily, "You don't know. The border at the gate of the palace is very strong. It's said that even the masters of Wuzong realm can't open it after passing the previous test. So our city master contacted the city masters of other cities and gathered a large number of masters to open it together it is. It's not time yet. They haven't come yet. We can't get in even if we want to." In this way, Mu Xiaoming understood why so many people were willing to accept the discipline of those people in black. It's not because those people in strong clothes are the bodyguards of the Lord. If they want to enter the palace, they must accept the favor of the Lord to open the border. Otherwise, no one will be able to enter the palace without the Lord's command. So at this time, naturally, everyone will be obedient. In the face of the city lord, no one will make trouble. Mu Xiaoming asked again, "How long will it take for them to come?" The man looked up at the sun in the sky, estimated the time, and said, "I'm afraid it's going to be noon. We are all worried that we'll be crowded behind and the good things will be robbed by others. That's why we came so early. The city masters are not in a hurry. It's still early." On hearing this, Mu Xiaoming's face suddenly collapsed, but he gave thanks to the humanitarian, and then returned to Yunwu's side. "I can't get in until noon." As soon as he came back, Mu Xiaoming hung his head and complained, "Ah, Xiao, you said, with the strength of the 3 of us, can we open the border? You are the strength of Emperor Wu." Cloud Dance frowned at the palace gate and said, "You can open it, just what? Can we open it, or shall we go first?" Mu Xiaoming said quickly. Cloud Dance shook his head. The legendary summoner left such a treasure cave. Do you think it would be so easy for others to enter? Mu Xiaoming was stunned. "What do you mean?" The Cloud Dance's a corner of the mouth to hook. Did not steal the grave, but always heard of stealing the grave. There are many mechanisms in every tomb. If you want to break in directly, I promise you will die. Mu Xiaoming's heart trembled. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said, "Is it so terrible? Isn't it impossible to get in?" Yunwu shook his head. His eyes swept over the greedy faces, and his voice became very heartless. "These people are pathfinding stones." Mu Xiaoming was stunned, instantly understood what Cloud Dance meant, and looked at those people. People from all over the world gathered here, and someone had already found a team to form a small team. Everyone's face was full of enthusiasm, and their coveting for the treasure made them forget the same price they had to pay. Yunwu 3 people are sitting in a place to have a rest. It seems that they feel that they have formed a team of their own, or because Yunwu's feeling is too cold to be close to, so no one dares to come up to say hello for a long time. Just when Yunwu thought it would be like this until he entered the palace, suddenly a voice came. Found it. Here there the sound of surprise came directly to Yunwu 3. Then, they saw a small team coming towards the tree where they were. There were 10 people in the team. At the front was a girl about 13 or 14 years old, dressed in yellow. There is also a middle-aged man behind to protect him. Just now, the voice of surprise is just from her. The sound is clear and crisp, which attracts many people's attention. My God, it's the second lady of the city lord. Ah, really? The second lady of the city master? How come she's here? I didn't expect to see her here. The second lady is more beautiful. Ah, how are they going that way? The voices of discussion rang out one after another. All the people consciously gave way to both sides of the place where the team passed. It was the second lady of Flint Town. Who dares to offend her? Cloud danced. 3 people looked at each other, in each other's eyes to see the doubt. How this Flint Town 2 young lady found them. In the twinkling of an eye, those people came to the front. The woman in yellow came directly to Yunwu with a surprise on her face. Vexia, you have been found at last. Your speed is too fast. We are chasing you all the way. We are afraid that we will not catch up with you and let you go to other teams. Yunwu's face was calm. Looking at the lively girl in front of her, her voice was a little chilly. Are you with us? The girl quickly nodded and said, yes, just before you started with those people. We were not far away. Later, you left in such a hurry that we didn't catch up and chased all the way. Hey, Vexia, you are so powerful. So many people have been killed as soon as the girl's words were finished. The onlookers were shocked and looked at the cloud dance in disbelief. This woman? How is that possible? But I can't believe what she said. Yunwu felt the people around her looking at her eyes slightly cold. This girl, in a few words, made herself the focus of the public. Is it unintentional or purposeful? A simple appearance. Is it really like this on the surface? Seems to feel the displeasure of cloud dance. Just now, also chirping girl along. Don't know where he said the wrong words. Some ignorant looking at cloud dance. At this time, a middle-aged man behind the girl came forward and saluted Yunwu. Said, this young lady, my young lady, just saw your skill. Just want to know you. So just all the way to catch up. Please don't misunderstand. We have no malice. The middle-aged man looks at his words and understands that Yunwu must be a person who doesn't want to be in the limelight. So he has this explanation. When he saw that Yunwu's face had calmed down, he continued, what's the name of this young lady? Do the 3 already have a team? As soon as these words came out, Yunwu understood why they found themselves. I'm afraid I started to let them see it before, so I know my strength, so I found myself. No matter how powerful the city master is, he still has to worry about the master. In the tomb left by the legendary summoner, no matter how powerful they are, they have to be careful. Cloud Dance saw the wood of nearby Xiao Ming and Lin Yintong one eye, see them both a pair of casual appearance, then say to the middle-aged man, have no. A middle-aged man is relieved. He has just seen the strength of Cloud Dance, and the 2 people around her can keep up with her speed, so the strength is not low. If we can get the help of these 3 people, I'm afraid this operation can increase a lot of security. All the way to catch up, for fear that they join other teams. In Zaiholin, would you like to join us? The middle-aged man asked again. As soon as the quiet girl heard the invitation, she quickly jumped out again. And I. My name is Huolinga, the second daughter of the Lord of Huashur Town. I'm not weak at the moment. I won't hold back. Huolin looks at Huolinga helplessly. Miss too. Huolin looks at Huolinga helplessly. I thought to myself, I'm inviting 3 people to join my team. How can I say that I want to join their team? I wonder if you will? The middle-aged man continued to ask. The grave is in danger. Although the 3 of them are not low in strength, it's still dangerous to rashly go in. How about forming a team with us? Yunwu 3 carefully looked at the middle-aged man talking opposite, thinking constantly in his mind. It's a good idea to form a team, but it also depends on who you form a team with. However, the girl said that she was the second lady of the Lord of Flint Town. If she formed a team with them, she was afraid that she would be together with the Lord's team. At that time, she would not be able to seize the inheritance, and would even stand on the side of the Lord of Flint Town. Yunwu's eyes narrowed, and some of them were not happy. Huolin keenly captures Yunwu's expression and thinks that the other party dislikes their strength. Miss, we are the leaders team. Although we can't compare with Miss 3, we are much better than other teams here. If you could form a team with the 3 young ladies, the strength is absolutely innumerable. Cloud Dance lightly looked at Huolin. Voice is cold. We always stand alone, don't like to listen to people. I'm afraid you've got the wrong person. Hearing this, Huolin was not disappointed, but his eyes lit up directly. If that's the reason, miss, don't worry at all. Although we are all the leaders team, there are too many people coming to explore in Flint Town this time, so we have formed various teams and acted separately. If Miss joined our team, she didn't have to listen to anyone. As for the Lord of the City has always been courteous to the good and respected the strong. I don't think he will embarrass the young lady. If Miss can join hands with us this time, we may be able to help if we encounter any problems in the future. Huolin said so many words, but what finally moved Yunwu was the last one. This sentence hit her heart. Up to now, she has not forgotten what her original purpose was when she came to Huoshi Town. It's more important to find the dragon and the evil spirits than to get the inheritance. How is Miss thinking? Fire Lin see Cloud Dance's face become relaxed. Immediately seemed to see hope, cautiously asked. If the young lady agrees, it cannot be regarded as joining our team, but as cooperation between our 2 teams. How about that? After entering the tomb, we can only cooperate with each other when dealing with other teams. As for the really valuable things in the tomb, those who have the ability can get them, and ordinary treasures can be divided at a later time. How about that? Nvexia, you agree? Huolinger also comes up to the Cloud Dance, opens a pair of big eyes of water spirit, worships the eyes to look at the Cloud Dance, and says. Cloud Dance looks at Xiang Huolinger. At the age of 13 or 14, she must have been brought up by the Lord of Huoshi Town since childhood. She looks innocent and innocent. She only saw her fight once, so she decided that she was a good person. She followed her all the way and treated her as a female Xia. Such a person led a person from the heart of the impulse to want to protect. What do you think? Cloud Dance turned his head and looked at Wu Xiaoming and Lin Yuntong, who had never spoken. Mu Xiaoming shrugged and said, I don't care. It's the same with anyone. I only listen to you. Lin Yuntong, like Nu Xiaoming, looks at Yunwu with 3 simple words. Listen to you. Yunwu nodded, ready to speak, but suddenly another voice came from one side. Oh, I didn't expect that the first warrior of Flint Town would appear here and send an invitation to an outsider in such a low voice. Tut, I really lost the face of Flint Town. The warm tone became very harsh because of the sarcasm in the tone. Huolin's face changed and said coldly, Mulin, what are you talking about? Cloud Dance, several people turned to the source of the voice to see. Between a man in black clothes is holding a fan, gently fan. It's a warm and moist appearance, but in the black shirt, I'm wearing a strong suit, which perfectly shows the strong lines of the body, full of explosive power. There were 8 people behind him, walking towards this side. It's the young master of Yulin Town, another one in the crowd said in surprise. Just as Huolin had just come over, they gave up another way and looked at the Mulin with more fear than before. It turned out to be him. I heard that he is a new rising genius. He is only 16 years old this year, and he has already reached the level of Wuzuan. It is said that he can reach the level of Wuzong before he is 18 years old. I didn't expect that the young master of Yulin Town also came and brought a team of his own. What are they doing here? It said that he always wanted to marry the second young lady of Huoshi Town, and the city leader was very satisfied, but the second young lady didn't want to live or die, which delayed him all the time. Oh, there is such a thing. In the eyes of awe, Mulin came to several people. The voice of people around him came, and Huolin's face became very ugly. How can the reputation of the second lady of her family be corrupted by others? Cloud Dance is a face of indifference, but the heart is constantly looking at. Looking at the current situation, it seems that this Mu Lin is very frustrated because he can't marry Huoling, so he will vent his anger on the people around her. Yunwu's eyes were cold, but he didn't say much. Cut, cool guy. The voice that Mu Xiaoming disdains comes. He felt that the black dress was really out of place on Mulin's body, which made him see it badly. But his favorite color, black, was so spoiled in front of him. How could he be happy? Mu Lin's strength is not bad, and Mu Xiaoming did not deliberately lower his voice, so this word fell directly in Mu Lin's ears. As soon as Mu Lin's face changed, his cold eyes cast directly at Mu Xiaoming. For a moment, the pressure of forcing people directly hit Mu Xiaoming. God, this strength is worthy of being the young master of Yulin Town. It's a genius. It's really terrible. I had such strength when I was only 16 years old, and I heard it was the middle period of Wuzuan. One day, he will surpass his father. The voice of discussion once again sounded, or from the beginning of the emergence of Mulin, the voice of discussion did not stop. All the topics revolve around him, with him as the center, and Mulin seems to enjoy this kind of treatment. His eyes are full of pride. He released the power to put in all directions. Some of the strength of the invincible people around just feel as if they were pressed on the chest of a big stone in general, extremely painful, even back. For a moment, there was a big circle around the Mu Lin family, which showed his difference. Looking at the reaction of people around, a touch of pride flashed in Mulin's eyes. Although it is to show his strength with Mu Xiaoming as a guide, his real purpose is to let people see how far his strength is. He has enjoyed this kind of vision since he was a child, and it has never changed. At this moment, his attention has long been on the people around him. Where can he take care of Mu Xiaoming? Mu Xiaoming reached for his ear and felt even worse. Wu Zun's strength is just like this. He is really a frog in the well. Do you think he is very powerful? For a moment, Mu Xiaoming looked down upon this man even more. I thought I was just fond of banging, but I didn't expect that I was a guy with no eyes. Mu Xiaoming said coldly. The beautiful voice attracted Mulin's sight. Mu Lin thought that he would see a person who was no different from others, but when he came into contact with Mu Xiaoming, he was shocked. How can you? Mu Lin looked at Mu Xiaoming in shock and said, in front of the people as if not affected in general, a look of impatience at themselves, and even some disdain. When did he receive such treatment as the grand young master of Yulin Town? Just don't know. If no in front of this same other black clothes of man is with all boundary of little lord, will have such idea? Well? Mu Xiaoming eyebrows pick. How not affected by you? Look, who is that man? How come it's not affected at all? It seems that you don't have to be inferior in strength. And the two people next to him are not affected. From time to time, their strength is the same as him? Some people around said, curiously. Pauline was also shocked to see Mu Xiaoming. Originally, they all focused on Yunwu. Even for Yunwu, they just estimated that her strength should be in Wuzuan's realm. But now to see that the people around her are not affected by the pressure of Wuzun, the strength of Cloud Dance will be higher. Even the people around are at least the strength of Wuzuan. Is this woman Wuzong? Huolin cheers in his heart. He has found a treasure this time. With the second lady's willfulness, he finds a man with the same strength as the city master. This time they got it. Only then did Mu Lin realize that his behavior was a bit out of fashion, which almost destroyed his image of being a graceful young man in the eyes of the public. He showed such a shocked attitude in front of so many people. Suddenly, he coughed gently and took back the released pressure, as if nothing had happened just now. What do you call me? As soon as the fan in Mulin's hand was closed, a warm smile appeared on his face again. He said to Mu Xiaoming that he seemed to love talents. But Mu Xiaoming didn't change his attitude because of him. He said mercilessly, it's so fast to change face. Just now he wanted to threaten me. Mulin's face turned blue and white. But in full view of the public, he could not change his face again. So he said with a dry smile, you really love to joke. Just now, you just want to know your strength. Out of admiration for the chivalrous, there is no malice. If you have misunderstood me, I would like to apologize here. Mu Xiaoming turned his lips and didn't want to pay any attention to him. You haven't joined any team yet, have you? When Mu Xiaoming was ready to ignore him, He didn't expect that Mulin would start the next topic. As soon as these words came out, Mu Xiaoming immediately became alert. Is there a team? What's the matter with you? Yes? Do you want to form a team with me? The blue veins on Mulin's forehead burst up. From small to large, he suffered less than he did today. You were joking. I already have my own team. If you don't mind, how about joining our team? When you come out of the grave, we will naturally give you satisfactory benefits. As soon as Mulin's words were finished, Mu Xiaoming didn't say anything. Huolin, who was silent all the time, said, "Cut, young master. Don't discuss people with your young master style, okay?" As soon as Mulin's face changed, he heard Huolin immediately say, "What's the good of giving people satisfaction? You clearly know that everyone comes for the things in the tomb. When you say this, you want this young Xia to give you a free hand not to take the things in the tomb. What's the benefit after the event? What's the advantage? Do you like Yulintown? Or money?" Huolin's words are like pork chops. They attack Mu Lin directly. Mu Lin's face is very ugly. Good. Mu Xiaoming didn't think it was too big to watch the excitement. He clapped his hands and cheered directly. His face was full of praise, and he said with a smile, "It's right in my heart." I said, "How can I listen to that?" I almost fell for it. Cloud danced white with Xiaoming one eye, but did not expose him. With the brain of Mu Xiaoming, how can you not see through the mystery of that? That's just to hide my clumsiness and use Huolin's hand to beat Mulin back. "Huolin, don't talk about it," Mulin said coldly to Huolin. "At this time, I don't care about the image." Originally, he wanted to maintain his image as a courteous corporal, but the clinker was exposed by Huolin. Since he doesn't want to make himself better, he's welcome. You beg others to go to your team in such a low voice, and others are not willing to do so. Instead, you lose the face of Flint Town. As the first warrior of Flint Town, it's unforgivable to do such a thing. How unforgivable? We should correct our attitude towards experts. Do I have to put my eyes on my head like you before I go out? Mu Lin and Huolin did not want anyone to fight. All right, don't quarrel anymore, a clear voice came. Huolinger directly drags Huolin behind him. "Uncle Lin, what are you arguing with him about? You don't know his temper." After Huolinger came out, Mulin's eyes were fixed on her. At this time, hearing Huolinger's words, she thought she was talking for herself. Suddenly, she showed a touch of danger. She went forward and said to Huolinger, "Linger, long time no see." Huolinger frowned at Mulin, then turned his head and said, "Well, long time no see." Mulin's eyes twinkled with salivation and desire, but he was well suppressed by himself, and his face was still Piampian child. Why did Linger come here? The grave is full of danger. It's very dangerous. Huolinger looked up and said, "I'm not afraid of danger." Mulin showed a worried look and said, "But even if you are not afraid, those of us who care about you will be very worried. How about our two teams going together? So we can take care of each other." Mulin always thinks that the reason why Huolinger doesn't like him is that he doesn't find his real charm. If they get in touch with each other more, Huolinger will treat him wholeheartedly sooner or later. "No, I'm not with you. I'm with Envexia." Huolinger turns around and runs to Yunwu, boldly grabs Yunwu's arm and says, "Envexia, Envexia. Have you thought about it? Would you like to join us?" Mulin's face changed. "It's really bad today. I was ridiculed by that man just now. Now I have to compete with this woman again. Why don't we have 3 teams working together, and then we can get what we need with our own abilities?" Mulin came to Cloud Dance and said condescending. While Linger didn't look at him, the sight of Yunwu was very cold, as if as long as Yunwu said no, he could directly put Yunwu in the right place. Cloud Dance a corner of the mouth hook in the heart way. "Friend me? Unfortunately, what I hate most is being threatened by others, and what I am not afraid of is also a threat." Looking at the side with a pair of bright eyes, looking at their own fire spirit son, Cloud lightly nodded. "Good. I'm with you." Huolinger's eyes brightened. "Really? Excellent. Vexia, you finally agreed." Mulin's face also showed a smile. "Great. In this way, our team is probably the most powerful one." Cloud Dance looked at him coldly and said coldly, "You seem to have misunderstood something. I'm talking about working with them, not with you." Mulin's smile froze on his face. On the other side, Hualin and others were pleasantly surprised. "Ha ha ha, Xiao's decision is really wise. I agree. I'll join this little girl." Mu Xiuming laughs heartily. "I agree with little dance." Lin Yuntong has a gentle face and a smile that makes people feel very close. "What did you say?" Mulin finally responded with a gloomy and terrible face. "Anyway, he has suffered too many humiliating things today. In that case, he doesn't have to endure any longer." Cloud Dance picked eyebrow to see him. Voice is cold. "What do I say you don't understand?" Mulin's cold vision and convalescence fell on Yunwu's body. "You've all thought about it. Do you want to form a team with me or not?" No, there is no doubt about the cool tone and tone. It's such a beautiful voice, but it's so ugly in Mulin's ears. "You three, don't be ignorant," Mulin said, directly stepped forward to start, but suddenly out behind him a person will pull him. Then he went up and whispered in Mulin's ear, "Young master, this is not a place to fight. The city masters will come here later. Now, they're fighting, then there will be no strength to grab the treasure." In a word, Mulin's action suddenly stopped, but looking at several people in front of him, he couldn't swallow it anyway. In his eyes, those who disobey his will not come to a good end. What's more, these people today are not just disobeying his will. "Young master, there's a long way to go. It's not too late to teach them when they get the treasure." The people around said again, "They are not weak. We have to find some experts to come." This words is to remind Mu Lin finally. The bad vision swept on Cloud Dance. 3 people finally took back. "Since you are not willing to form a team with us, you must have confidence to show your skills in the grave. In that case, I won't continue to harass you. We'll have a good meeting in the future." Mu Lin left this sentence and then left here with 8 people behind him. He didn't have the natural and unrestrained appearance when he came. Did those people offend the young master? There will be no good days in the future. Yes, that's a young master. He's always merciless when dealing with people. I can only wish them good luck. The people around them shook their heads and looked at Yunwu 3 people. They only felt that their fate was really pitiful. No one dared to disturb them anymore. They were afraid that if they were not careful, they would spread to the young master and make the young master take out their anger. It seems to have caused a lot of trouble. Mu Xiuming listened to the voices of the people around him and said thoughtfully, "Cloud Dance, they are waiting for the opening of the tomb, and far away, Sidulan's fate is not so smooth." When Sidulan regained consciousness again, he only felt that his whole body was wet and sticky. With his eyes closed, he could feel the wet sea wind blowing over his body. He breathed and felt as if his lungs had been exhausted for a long time without breathing. Until now, they suddenly had vitality. Acutely coughing twice, Sidulan felt his throat burning. Gritting his teeth and opening his eyes, he suddenly found that there was a clear sky in front of him, not like the deep sea, but bright and beautiful blue. He suddenly had the idea of singing aloud. Struggling to prop up, looking around, I found myself lying on a deck. The ship was so huge that I didn't see the bow at a glance. Sidulan jumped up, surprised, but the lack of oxygen for a long time made him dizzy, almost fell down, and quickly helped the side of the boat. "Oh, you're awake." Someone behind said that Sidulan turned his head curiously. I saw a woman with an extremely hot figure, wearing a skirt with a fork to the thigh root. Her double peaks were full and extremely eye-catching. She twisted her waist and hips. When she came towards herself from a distance, countless eyes on the deck had gathered on her. Let Sidulan, a burst of embarrassment, coughed twice, toward the woman with a smile. "Thank you for saving your life." "Girl?" The woman's willow eyebrows are slightly provoked, and the whole person has all kinds of amorous feelings, which makes Sidulan feel a little stunned. Such a woman is really the best. "I'm much older than you. How can you call me a girl? My name is Tsunghuan Xiang. All the people on the ship call me Huan Jie. So do you." The woman came close to Sidulan, with a faint fragrance all over her body, which made Sidulan nervous, and she could not help retreating 2 steps. It seems that my brother is still very pure. He stretched out his fingers from the magic fragrance, lifted up Sidulan's chin, bent his eyebrows and eyes, and suddenly approached Sidulan. His good body was tightly attached to Sidulan's body. Suddenly let Sidulan quickly back 2 steps. Heart-rise smile. Really a dangerous woman. Boy, what's your name? I saved you only because you look good. Come back to the tribe with me. Don't irritate me, or I may throw you into the sea again. From the magic incense towards Sidulan blinked, licked his lips. My name is Sidulan. Sidulan lowered his head and felt sad. This was really the first thing to go out of the wolves and into the tiger's mouth. Seeing the magic incense leave from the front, Sidulan just breathed and sat down on the deck, looking at the vast sea behind him. He didn't know where he was supposed to meet his friends, but he was in the sea and didn't know where he was going next. Yang Tian sighed, turned his head and saw 2 men coming, bare upper body, showing a strong muscle, and gave Sidulan a stiff smile. Our helmsman has prepared food and room for you. Come with us. He said. The 2 muscular men took Sidulan to a room and retreated. Sidulan came into the room and saw that there were all kinds of food on the table, which made his stomach start to coo without willpower. Originally, I thought about whether these people would poison him, but now I know that they are in the vast sea. If they want to kill themselves, they can't use poison to kill themselves. So comfort oneself, then sit down and scrupulously begin to eat and drink. Yes, there's nothing more important than filling your stomach. After dinner, Sidulan wiped his mouth and breathed. Looking at the door of the room, my heart is like a mirror. Just now, when I was eating, someone had locked the door. 2 big men stood in front of the door to prevent Sidulan from escaping. Helplessly turned to look at the bed behind, and finally simply sighed. Lying on the bed, closed his eyes. Sidulan was so sleepy that he thought that he was on the vast sea and couldn't escape to other places. It's better in the hands of humans than in the hands of chimpanzees. Sidulan mumbled to himself, closed his eyes, and went to sleep. It was not until he was awakened by the roar of gongs and drums that Sidulan opened his tired eyes. Look at the sky. It's dark. The lights are bright outside. The cheers and shouts of countless people burst through the doors and windows and poured into Sidulan's ears. He can't help but go to the door curiously and try to open the door. The door that I thought was locked was opened easily. Out of the small room, I found that the ship was about to dock and was heading for a huge dock. There were people on the dock, and the crowd was cheering. And look inside. All are bright lights, countless rooms, streets, the sound of people. Where is these people? Sidulan murmured. Looking around in shock, I saw that there were countless ships of the same size as the ships I was riding around. I couldn't see the end in the vast sea. He was very curious about what kind of place it was. He turned around and saw that he came to his side from the magic fragrance. He leaned gracefully against the side of the boat and looked at Sidulan with a smile. How are you shocked? Where is this? Sidulan looked around, nodded in shock, and murmured, It's really spectacular. This is my country. From the magic incense stands straight body, looking at the distant town. This is my country, although he is just a tribe. Looking at Sidulan, he showed a charming smile. It turned out that she was the leader of the tribe. She was really not an ordinary woman. She couldn't help but praise sincerely. The girl is really beyond people's ability. Patriarch, a man appeared beside him and bowed to the magic incense and said, We are going to arrive at Winge Island in front of us. Please prepare for it early. The man wears a suit of armor, but his skin is still white and beautiful. His sword eyebrows are at the temples, his eyes are like stars, his lips are red, and his teeth are white. At first glance, he is a peerless man. He looked up at Sidulan, and his eyes were full of provocation. He nodded with a smile and didn't say much. He turned his head to see Sidulan. I'm going to prepare first. In a moment, someone will lead you back to our palace. I'll see you in the evening. See you in the evening. There are many ambiguities in these 4 words. The beautiful man couldn't help looking up and looking at Sidulan. At this time, his eyes were full of anger. No, it's jealousy and murderous. Situ Lan can't help sighing in his heart. He is wrapped up in this strange, murderous spirit, which makes Situ Lan very unhappy. He looked at the man beside him, shrugged, and walked out of the sailboat with everyone's steps. The wharf stretches for hundreds of miles along the coast. The whole coastline is full of lights and peace. Situ Lan looked at the prosperity of the island and couldn't help taking a breath. I thought these people were pirates and roamed the sea, but I didn't expect that behind them was such a prosperous and powerful island. Along with the people around us, we walked towards the street. There were vendors on the street. Now it's late at night, but the lights on the street make it look like the day. Is this Mr. Situ? Around, a voice said. Let Situ Lan can't help but turn his head. Look at the man, alone, but just that with the beautiful man from the magic fragrance side. But at this time, has changed a body ordinary clothes. At this time the belt floats, does not have some verve. Situ Lan is very distressed in his heart. This man has a murderous look on his face. He is obviously aiming at himself. He doesn't know what he is doing from the magic fragrance. May I have your name, sir? Situ Lan looked around, enjoying the prosperity of this school, and asked casually. The man is very obviously not willing to show, coldly looked at Situ Lan, lowered his head. You and I just met by chance. Why remember each other's name? Helpless shrug. Situ Lan's smile no longer involved. The man glanced at Situ Lan and had to quicken his pace to lead the way in front of him. The reception room is just ahead. Although that man has hostility to Situ Lan, he still dutifully leads the way for Situ Lan. But the low pressure all the way made Situ Lan feel very uncomfortable. Until through the long street, has been walking to the back of the place where there is no one. The light gradually dimmed down, suddenly appeared in front of a huge wall, solemn and dignified. It's already here. The man arched his hand and said to Situ Lan. He didn't look up at Situ Lan and turned to leave. Wait a minute. Situ Lan stopped him, looked at the huge, dark courtyard in front of him, and asked, Don't you go in and see Tsong Huanxiang? I'm not going in. The man turned his back to Situ Lan and walked towards the way he came. The patriarch didn't ask me to go in, said, has accelerated the pace to leave. Situ Lan longed for a long time, just dumbfounded, pushed open the door, walked in. The long corridor leads all the way to the room with orange lights. Looking at the house like a palace in front of him, Situ Lan suddenly stopped and then resolutely walked in. As soon as they arrived at the gate of the mansion, the two maids pushed the door open and bowed to Situ Lan, as if they were greeting a very distinguished guest. This, Situ Lan's heart is more heavy, took a deep breath, still walked in. When he first went in, there was no magic fragrance in the room. Situ Lan felt that it was inappropriate for him to walk around, so he sat down at the table. The maid, who had already stood by, took the teapot and poured water for him, then stepped back and said nothing. Situ Lan lowered his head and looked at the teacup, a little uneasy in his heart. I don't know how long it took until I heard a light footstep behind me. Looking back, I saw that she had changed her clothes, loose and casual clothes. Her hair was loose and her makeup was removed. It was not as enchanting as before, but it also had a different flavor. He went straight to sit down beside Situ Lan, and the maid beside him poured a cup of tea for him. Situ Lan, your name is Situ Lan. I don't know whether I'm talking to myself or asking Situ Lan. Just murmured, then squinted, looked down and sneered, tasted a mouthful of tea. The boy who brought you here is Shaoran, a man like my child. Situ Lan also lowered his head, watching the tea falling from the bottom of the bowl, listening to the voice of the magic fragrance. Is this woman asking me to come here to listen to her mind? The woman continued. That child is a little strange. Just don't mind. He is still a very simple person at the bottom of his heart. Situ Lan nodded with a smile. I don't care. There is no intersection. As he said, it's just a chance meeting. What do you mind? Listening to Situ Lan's words, he frowned. In your eyes, we just met by chance? Endless forest, just like the virgin forest. I don't know when I can see the sun again. Nanganji leaned against a tree trunk and gasped violently. This place is so dangerous that he has to tighten his nerves at every step. The blood hole in his chest is now covered with a large amount of blood and dyed red. In this world, there is no similar, no noise, but the silence of death, which makes him frown. If you can't find shelter, you may die in the forest because of serious injury. But that figure has been with him. Nanganji has been able to feel its existence, but cannot see it because it is too fast. He moves slowly in the forest. In addition to this one around, there are other dangers. Tense nerves cannot relax for a moment. He coughed twice to force himself up. Around that small figure and toward Nangong, he suddenly hit. Nangong tight thin lips. He clearly has seen the action of the figure. But before he raised his hand, he frowned and snorted, and a blood hole appeared on his arm. Nangong held the tree and sighed, looking at the green and the light mist in the vast forest. The light enveloped him because he lost more blood, which led to his fatigue and weakness. There were 1 or 2 shrieks in the forest from time to time, or a huge figure from the top of the head occasionally, each of which made Nangong nervous and sweaty. He looked around, searching for the tiny shadow that had just attacked him. Finally, the shadow appeared around again, fast and attacking itself. Nangong Yi's hand suddenly gushes out a light ray, looking at that dark shadow getting closer and closer, then suddenly attacks. Well, Nangong staggers backward and covers his stomach. Suddenly, blood flows down his fingers and his face turns pale. Nangong is breathing heavily, and his whole body is shaking, but he is still biting his teeth and pouring the light into his palm. He opens his eyes and carefully observes the surroundings. After a long confrontation with the unknown warcraft, Nangong still hasn't seen its appearance clearly, so he can't help but despair. Looking at the sky getting darker and darker, the dense fog gradually rises in the forest and completely submerges the road ahead. The fog was so thick that I couldn't even see the trees in front of me. After Nangong, he was attacked 5 times by the figure. He finally raised his hand and grasped the thing. At this time, Nangong Yi's whole body was scarred. Looking at the small snake in his hand, Nangong Yi really can't laugh or cry. It was such a small thing that made himself so embarrassed that he let out his breath. He leaned against a tree and sat on the ground, panting. All the wounds on his body are bleeding, and Nangong even feels that his body's heat is rapidly losing. The fog is getting thicker and thicker. In the twinkling of an eye, Nangong finds that he can't see the leaves on his head. He is so confused that he even thinks that he has fallen into the clouds. Panting in a hurry, Nangong has a little panic in his eyes. He suddenly covers his mouth and coughs violently. This fog is poisonous. Nangong thinks that it's impossible to hold his breath. When he opens his hand, it's wet and sticky, and it's all blood. Cover your mouth and nose with your hands. But there is no use at all. The mist enters Nangong Yi's mouth and nose, and suddenly, there is a hot pain in his lung. His eyes began to blur, and his ears could not hear clearly. His breathing became heavy. Nangong Yi's heart sank. He covered his chest and stood up with the tree. He was about to suffocate. Did not walk 2 steps, like a soft, plop down on the ground, desperately want to stand up, but the body seems to be no longer their own. Never stand up. Cough! Tightly holding his chest closed, coughing twice, blood down the corner of the mouth, cheek dyed the ground red. Looking at the grass on the ground, gradually, the whole world has become black. Are you going to die here today? Thinking about this, I have gradually lost consciousness. Only vaguely heard someone saying, "Hello, wake up." In the hustle and bustle of the crowd, Cloud Dance 3 people and Fire Spirit Sun, a group of people sit together, talking and laughing. From Yulin left after a few people have finished introducing each other. At this time is also slowly familiar with. It turns out that Miss Yunwu came here to find her friends. Pauline said with admiration after hearing Yunwu's words, "Miss, I really don't admire her for being so affectionate and righteous. Please don't worry. When I come out of the tomb, I will tell the Lord about you and ask him to send someone to look for your friend." Yunwu originally said, "Find a friend," because the other party asked them why they came here, but unexpectedly Hualin listened to it and immediately gave Hualin a little favor. In that case, I'll be in trouble. Cloud Dance Light said. Vexia, don't worry. If he forgets me, Hualinger will help you persuade Dad. Hualinger crunched up to Yunwu and said, although Yunwu is just a simple 3-word find a friend. But Hualinger has already made up a large section of chivalrous plot, and immediately his worship of Cloud Dance goes up to a higher level. Poof! Mu Xiaoming couldn't help laughing. I said, little girl, don't yell at each other. If you're not uncomfortable, we're still uncomfortable. Since we're all in the same team, let's call each other's names directly. Ah? Is that okay? Hualinger turned his head and blinked a pair of Shuailing's eyes at Yunwu. Can I call you Sister Yin? Yunwu nodded with a smile. This simple and innocent little girl makes her like it rarely. Hualinger immediately cheered happily, a face full of joy smile, as if to get how much reward. One side of the fire Lin helplessly shook his head. Own miss is so easy to meet. The Lord is coming. The Lord is coming. There was a sudden commotion in the crowd. Cloud Dance, a few people turned to see on the sky, a few flying warcraft fly toward this side. These are the warcraft they domesticate. Although they can't contract like the summoner, they can domesticate them and make them work for themselves. On the back of those warcraft, there are many people standing alternately. Looking at the formation, it is bigger than all the people here. Warcraft was so big that it had to stop in midair. Then a figure flew down from Warcraft's back and landed firmly in front of the palace gate. The lords of every city are here. What an eye-opener. I don't have a chance to see such a scene at ordinary times. It seems that everyone has great expectations for this expedition. Yes, look at that. That's the Lord of Huling Town. He seldom goes out, and few people can see him with their own eyes. It's incredible that this incident even shocked him. This time, all the city masters are out. It seems that they are sure to get that thing. Around the voices of discussion, Cloud Dance all word in the ear, looking at those who appear in the front of the people, a little look at their strength, then directly withdraw their eyes. Wuzong. All of these city masters are in the realm of Wuzong. The most powerful city master of Huasher Town is in the later period of Wuzong. Sister Yin, let's go. Although we're not in the same team as Dad, we'd better go and say hello first and get familiar with each other. When it's done, we can let Dad help you. Hualinger said with Cloud Dance's arm. Yinwu nodded. Led by Hualin, the party walked towards the palace gate. Through the sea of people, I saw Hualinger and Hualin, and the guards in black didn't stop them. They saluted them respectfully, and then obediently let them go. Lord of Fire, I didn't expect that there are so many people coming today. The Lord Mu of Yulin said to the Lord of Washishi, with a warm smile on his face. People who don't know think their friendship is so good. But in fact, it is not the case. The two people have been fighting for many years. Before, they planned to use Hualinger and Mulin's marriage to ease a little, but they have been deadlocked until now. But at the end of the day, Huasher Town is the largest town nearby, and Huading, the leader of Huasher Town, is the most powerful person in several cities nearby. As long as he is in charge of Huasher Town, no one dares to do anything about Huasher Town. No matter how unconvinced the Lord of Yulin Town was, he didn't dare to tear his face with him. No matter how much you come, this expedition is not a small one. We don't know the danger in it. We must be careful. With so many people here, we have a better chance of winning. Huading looked at the gate of the palace and said thoughtfully, It's still the Master of Fire's consideration. The city master of Mu said with a smile, His face is as warm as jade, which is the same as that of Mu Lin, worthy of being a father and son. But he turned around and gave a cold hum. What's more likely to win? It's just that there are more pathfinding stones. That's a good thing to say. Daddy Clear Business thought of it, attracted everyone's attention in the past, only to see a small goose yellow figure appeared in front of the huge open space at the gate of the palace. And as soon as Fong appeared, he rushed directly towards Huading. Dad, why are you here now? We've been here for a while, Hualinger complained. Huading stretched out his hand and pinched Hualinger's nose. His eyes were full of love and doting. Wait a little longer. What's the matter? Let you know more friends? Do you still hate boredom? Hualinger looked up and said, I'm not bored. Dad, I tell you, I know a great heroine. Hudding was not surprised. He reached for Hulinger's head and said, well, it's good. It's also nice to meet a few more friends. Anyway, with Huilin by her side, you don't have to worry about the problem of knowing people. Huilinger frowned and pulled the hand off his head. He said, Dad, I'm serious. Sister Yun is a very powerful female Xia, and her two friends are very powerful. You'll know when you see them. Huiding didn't have the heart to deal with it. She thought it was her daughter who had a small temper. She touched her head with another hand. Okay, Dad knows. Now there's business to do. Would you go to your team first? Fire Spirit's son, Malthadu, is preparing to say what, but see Fire Tongue's eyes suddenly put in his behind, with a bit surprised looking at a place. Huilinger looks back and sees Huilin and several people coming here, while Yunwu and 3 people are following Huilin calmly. Huilin stands beside Yunwu with a very polite attitude. He doesn't treat a younger generation like that, but he treats a young girl so politely. Behind the girl, there was a man and a woman following her, obviously with the girl's lead. Huiding tried to explore the strength of Cloud Dance, but found nothing. At this time, Yunwu looked up in his direction. Just for a moment, Huiding suddenly had the illusion that the whole person was seen through. It seemed that every idea of himself was seen by this person. Sister Yun, Huilinger says hello and pours on the cloud like a lark. Sister Yun, my father doesn't believe that you are very good. You just came. Let's go. I'll take you to meet Dad and let him know that you are also very good. A few people say words, then walk to the Fire Tongue in front of Cloud Dance Station and the Fire Tongue of opposite, eyes clear. Just now, Huiding looked at her and felt that her strength was higher than him. How could she easily let him look at her? Cloud Dance has something else to borrow from the help of Huasher Town. So if you want Huiding to help yourself, you must show him the power to face it. Otherwise, for the weak, even the most basic request will not be easy to help. Sure enough, after seeing the Cloud Dance, Huiding's attitude changed a bit. Then he politely said, this young lady is really excellent. It's a great honor for my little girl to know someone like you. Please take care of her in the next exploration. Cloud Dance looked at the innocent Huilinger and nodded. Don't worry, Dad. Sister Yun will protect me. Everyone around her is very powerful, and there will be no mistakes. As soon as the words came out, Huiding immediately turned his head and looked at Yunwu's back. He looked at Mu Xiaoming and found that, like Yunwu, he still couldn't see any realm. Lord, this Miss Cloud Dance is very powerful. Huilin approached Huiding and said in a soft voice, according to my subordinate speculation, it is likely to be Wuzong realm. Her 2 followers are also very strong. They must be Wuzuan. Yulin Town's Master Mulin's coercion has no effect on us at all. Wuzong realm. Huiding looked at the silent Cloud Dance in shock, with surprise and excitement in his eyes. You know, although Huasher Town has him, its overall strength is not as strong as Yulin Town. This time, Yulin Town brought a lot of experts. He was afraid that something might damage his precious daughter, and he was afraid that when he faced the treasure in the tomb, he would not get it. Now with the participation of Cloud Dance, there will be one more Cloud Dance in their team. Is it necessary to worry about other people? He really wanted Yunwu to follow him if he didn't worry that his baby daughter might be in danger. I didn't expect Miss Yunwu to do this when she was young. When the grave is over, do you have any interest in staying in Flint Town? Huiding is afraid that Yunwu will be robbed by others, so he sends out an invitation to Yunwu. The difference in attitude between before and after is so great that many people are curious about what Huilin said just now. Thank you for your kindness. I'm here just to find some of my friends. If you can't find it, you'll leave here. There's no plan to stay here for a long time. Cloud Dance said softly, declined Fire Tongue's good intention, at the same time put forward his own demand. Oh, looking for friends? Huiding caught the key words and showed a curious look on his face. I don't know what your friends are like. If I can use the power of Flint to help you find it. Cloud Dance is exactly this meaning, and at this time was directly put forward by Huiding. Cloud Dance's eyes suddenly flashed a light. Thank you, Lord. Please rest assured that I will do my best to protect Linger. Both of them are straightforward, not so many twists and turns, so they quickly reached a deal. This curtain fell in the eyes of the people around, but only surprised. I didn't expect the Fire Lord to cherish his talents so much. The Lord of Moose City came again. Just don't know why. Look at Cloud Dance's eyes is quite bad, as if Cloud Dance would offended him. Cloud Dance frowned and said nothing more. Lift an eye, but see not far away. Mu Lin is a face annoyed of looking at her. Cloud Dance and the heart immediately understand. Only afraid is before of affair this Mu Lin already told his father. So this Moose City Lord then remembered oneself. The Lord of Moose City is worried, but the people Linger brings back are different. Huading said with a frown, now is not the time to say this. Let's see if all the people who opened my sister have arrived. If they have arrived, we will be ready to start. Fire Tongue's words turned the topic for the Cloud Dance. But the Moose City Lord can't say a word, can only in the heart dry stare. In the heart ruthlessly will this account in the head of the Cloud Dance. Can Huading just talk for her? Dream. Wait. When you get to the grave, there are plenty of beautiful things. Who is that woman? How could the city lord treat her like this? Why have you never seen it before? Don't you know that? She is the one who fought with that group of people outside the forest before. She has a good weapon in her hand. Many people are greedy. But now that they have the protection of the lord of the city, it's hard to find him again. Yunwu didn't care about the eyes of the people around him. After a few words with the city master, he stood aside with Hollinger and said nothing more. Now, with the assurance of the city master, Yunwu's mood has relaxed a lot. With the help of the city master, if they are near here, I believe they will be found soon. A little bit of time passed, and finally noon arrived. The huge palace appeared in front of the public like a mirage, shrouded in a light, looming between the trees, like a dream of illusion, which makes people yearn for it. That's because the tomb is still in the package of space elements. Although other people can't understand what's going on, Cloud Dance can feel it. It just doesn't explain. All right, it's time. As soon as Huading saw that the people were almost there, he said directly that the sound spread out with internal force, which made the noisy sea of people calm down instantly. One by one with greedy eyes at the palace gate. The warriors who are responsible for opening the border have already stood on one side, facing the gate. As long as the city leader gives an order, they will directly use all their strength to attack the border of the palace. Cloud Dance, several people stand aside, line of sight on those warriors, a look at the past, only feel a little surprised, did not expect this small place can see so many people who are not weak. Great, the grave is finally going to open. Hollinger looks at the front excitedly. Finally, Huading ordered attack. At the same time, the fighting spirit of various colors attacked the border. For a moment, as if to hear something broken things, such a powerful attack on the border, instantly let the border broken. Grave open. The forest where Yunwu is located is close to the other side of the volcano. A small pool next to a white figure sitting on the edge, leisurely looking at the front of a roasted meat is fragrant, but the line of sight floated to the distance. I don't know what happened to them. It seems that it's hard for me to find small things. Long Qingxie said thoughtfully. When he woke up from the volcano a few days ago, the first thing he did was to find his partner. At the top of the volcano, I found the fire beast, but I learned that Yunwu had gone to the blood corpse place. I rushed to the blood corpse place in a hurry. When I got there, I found that Yunwu had already made a world shaking, and Yunwu has already left there. Long Qingxie had no choice but to set foot on the road of looking for his wife again. After some thinking, they all the way to the east to catch up, all the way according to the residual breath of Cloud Dance, finally arrived here. I don't know if the little guy would recognize me if he saw me now. Long Qingxie looked down at his reflection in the river and said thoughtfully. In the forest, in his half-dream and half-wake-up, Nangong, he is always in the double sky of ice and fire. He feels the pain from his throat to his lungs and spreads all over his body. He wanted to open his eyes, but he couldn't do it at all. He heard a man's voice around him saying gently, "Why haven't you woken up yet? The medicine should not be used wrong." Who is it? Nangong, he said in his heart that he struggled to open his eyes. He wanted to raise his hand to feel whether his veil was still there, but he couldn't move at all. Suddenly, someone walks around, and then PA touches his face, which makes Nangong Yi's heart sink. I've been sleeping for several days. Why don't I wake up? The voice said, followed by warm and sweet warm flow down his throat, the whole body suddenly a warm. In an instant, the senses all over the body came back. Nangong Yi opens his eyes difficultly and is suddenly closed by the dazzling sunlight. A man's figure in simple house flashed past his eyes. He closed his eyes and coughed twice. The man next to him suddenly exclaimed in surprise, "God, you wake up!" Gradually adapted to the glare of the sun, Nangong Yi slowly opened his eyes, sour eyes for a long time, and finally focused in a blur. What he saw was the gentle and beautiful face of the young woman in front of him. The man burst into a smile with a bright face. After walking for such a long time in an uninhabited place, I finally saw Nangongji feel at ease, but then I felt a thump in my heart and sat up. Blood hole on the body, suddenly came bursts of pain. Let him face white, bite teeth, turn to look at the man, face serious expression. Let the man lung for a while, a face puzzled look at him. My veil, Nangong Yi said, looking up at the man's surprised expression, subconsciously covering his eyes on his forehead with his hand. Who else can see me except you? The man saw his behavior, a smile, turned from the cabinet next to take out his veil, handed him. Your veil is all blood. I took it to wash. Nangong Yi doesn't talk at all. He takes the veil carefully and is ready to wear it on his head, but he is stopped by the man. You are injured now, and you can't go out and walk at will. I'm the only one who has seen you, so don't worry. Don't wear the veil here. Nangong Yi is very alert and did not answer him, just silently put the veil on his head. He got up and got out of bed, but his injury made him soft and nearly fell down. Standing beside the bed, the man helplessly stepped forward to hold Nangong Yi's arm and sighed. I said, brother, I'm just a resident in this area. There's no threat. You don't have to be so vigilant. But Nangong Yi frowned and looked around. Around, there are some wooden cabinets, chairs, and tables, and there are no other threats nearby. Seeing this, I couldn't help but vomit and sit on the bed with a soft leg. Then I felt dizzy, followed by severe pain all over my body. You're too seriously injured now, and your shape is. The man looked at Nangong Yi and scratched his head. It's so eye-catching so. That would be great. At this time, Nangong Yi showed a faint smile. Thank you for saving me. What's your name, brother? My name is Xiao Wu. I should be older than you, so call me Brother Xiao. Xiao Wu gave Nangong Yi a bowl of porridge with a smile and said, You can drink it, and you can replenish your strength. Then some embarrassed smile. My family is poor, big fish and big meat may not be able to buy. If you are which young master also bear more. Nangong Yi looks down at the bowl. The porridge in the bowl can only be called porridge reluctantly. A little bit of rice is floating in the middle, and he sips his mouth. Nangong Yi hesitates for a moment, but he still takes the bowl and drinks it. He hands the bowl to Xiao Wu. Thank you. The man laughed and put the bowl on the table. Your injury needs more rest, so I won't disturb you. If there is anything, just call my name. Well, wait, I want to ask, what's this place? Nangong Yi suddenly called out to Xiao Wu. My friends and I are separated. Now we need to find them. Xiao Wu looked back and showed a big white tooth with a smile. This is the Xiao family tribe. All of them are Xiao family. Nangong Yi nodded, and Xiao Wu came out of the room with a bowl. Nangong Yi was the only one left in the room, and suddenly the room was quiet. Nangong Yi looks out of the window and breathes. He closes his eyes and quietly feels the flow of fighting qi in his body. Suddenly, I found that I was full of fighting spirit in my body, which seemed to have the omen of reaching the peak of Wuzong realm. However, I was seriously injured now, and I might not be able to bear the thunder. So the most important thing now is not to improve my strength, but to heal. With this in mind, Nangong Yi immediately sat cross-legged on the bed, closed his eyes, and quietly adjusted his breath. At this time, the voice of a group of people came out of the window. I said that the people of Xinyu tribe are really weak. Ha ha ha. The war between us and Xinyu tribe is imminent. You are still fighting with their people. You don't want to preserve your strength. I wonder why we are so at war with the Xinyu tribe. According to reason, have our two tribes been friends for several generations? Nangong Yi, who is in the process of breathing, opens his eyes. It turns out that there is a Xinyu tribe nearby. Nangong Yi has a general understanding of the situation here. Xinyu tribe. Well, I said, the people of that Xiao tribe are too bad. I've picked several of them all by myself. True or false, so powerful. I admire you so much. The voices of several young people suddenly came into Shangguan's ears, and immediately let Shangguan, who was meditating and breathing, open his eyes and look at the people in front of him. Hey, I said the boys in front. What are you talking about? Shangguan raised his eyebrows, looked at several people in front of him, and tilted his mouth. Oh, the flower picker? The young men whistled and surrounded the wooden prison where Shangguan lived. What do you want to know? Shangguan snorted, still sitting cross-legged in prison, said, I listened to what you were saying. How many people have been defeated? I really want to laugh. In my opinion, you can't beat half of me in 10. The young man who has been boasting about his special ability raised his eyebrows and was very angry. I said that you have been caught in this wooden prison. You are so happy to boast. Don't be beaten all over the place by us to beg for mercy. Hearing such childish words, Shangguan couldn't help laughing and sighed. Ah, sure enough, you are still too young. You can't feel my realm at all, but you are still talking here. Aren't you afraid that I will kick your ass in a blossom? Those boys were really angry. Yes, they can't see what Shangguan is. So what we can know is that Shangguan's realm must be higher than his own. When he heard Shangguan's defiant provocation, he was very angry. I tell you, the strongest master of our tribe beats you every minute. Do you believe it? Shangguan closed his eyes and sneered. Naturally, I don't believe it. I have the ability to invite the experts to fight with me and defeat me before I believe it. The boys were even more angry when they heard this. They pointed to the Shangguan and roared, You wait. I'm going to report to the patriarch. We have to beat you out of our tribe with these words. Several young men have run towards the patriarch's house. Shangguan laughed in his heart and closed his eyes to feel the fighting in his body. Sure enough, the medicine Mu Yunling gave him last night not only made him recover from his injury, but also improved his state. He was about to reach the peak. I can't help but feel happy. It's a blessing in disguise. Thinking about this, I heard a sudden surge of people. When I opened my eyes, I saw countless people surrounded by the old clan leader, walking towards the direction of the wooden prison. Sure enough, these people can't help provocation. They close their eyes and fight in their bodies. The old clan leader stroked his beard and went to the wooden prison. Looking at the way the upper officials sat in the wooden prison, he sneered, Boy, I heard you are challenging our peoples? Surrounded by countless big men, they all looked at Shangguan with a face of provocation. Sitting in the wooden prison, the Shangguan opened his eyes, looked up at the old clan leader, and showed his big, white teeth. Where can I challenge you? After all, your strength is too weak. I'm afraid to hurt you. As soon as the voice fell, a murderous atmosphere overflowed around him. His eyes were burning with fury, and he looked up at Shangguan without blinking. Shangguan chuckled, jumped up from the ground, stood in the wooden prison, pointed to a group of people in front of him, and burst into laughter. Are you going to fight a group of people with me? Patting the dusty clothes just sitting on the ground, he tilted his head and pointed to the old clan leader in front of him. His eyes suddenly lit up with fighting spirit. Let's have a fight. You send the most powerful people of your tribe to fight with me. If I beat them, then you let me go. On the contrary, I'll deal with it as you like. How about that? A stone stirred up 1,000 layers of waves, and the surrounding warriors became angry and cursed one by one. Seeing that the anger of the people could not be suppressed, the patriarch immediately frowned. To tell you the truth, he can't understand Shangguan's real state at all, so in the face of such a situation, he's really not sure to make such a bet. However, as far as the current situation is concerned, there is no way out, so he nodded and said, Okay, that's the decision. He turned his head and nodded to the warrior behind him. So a warrior came out, opened the wooden prison of Shangguan, and released Shangguan. Please go to the tribal arena. The patriarch snorted coldly, but without waiting for the superior, he walked towards the arena. As soon as I heard that there was a duel in the tribe, the whole tribe was excited, and all of them moved to the tribal arena. When Shangguan came to the competition arena, the whole competition arena was full of people, and the noise made Shangguan stunned and scratched his head. It seems that this battle is very big. When I turn around and look at the person who leads the way, he sneers at him, and Shangguan returns a big smile. The old clan leader had already walked to the observation platform and sat in the middle seat. Two warriors grabbed Mu Yunling's arm and pressed her beside the old clan leader. Then, sir, please, the samurai around him said coldly, then raised his finger to the platform. Shangguan patted the man on the shoulder with a smile and said with a smile, "Thank you very much." One turned over and jumped on the platform. The action makes the voice of the people who are watching suddenly enlarge a lot, and there are also a lot of surprise voices. Shangguan raised his head and looked at the observation platform. Mu Yunling's eyes were red, and he looked at Shangguan in panic. Shangguan raised his head, gave Mu Yunling a reassuring smile, turned around and looked at the crowd. There are few such contests in the tribe, and I don't know how strong this flower gatherer is. Anyway, I can't feel his realm. His realm must be higher than most of us. Don't brag. I'm afraid he's just above you and me. Those experts of our tribe are more than enough to deal with him. All the comments from the audience were clearly introduced into the ears of the Taoist priest, who could not help but smile, because in his perception, there is no higher realm than him. The strongest one is also under him. This time, I feel more relieved and raise my head to make a victory gesture to Mu Yunling. The battle is imminent. Xiao tribe. Nangong Yi, who is healing, is suddenly disturbed by the noise, frowning and opening his eyes. After 2 days of breathing adjustment, the internal injury was almost cured. With Xiao Wu's herbal medicine, the weak body had been better. But peeping at the situation in his body, he can't bear the thunder. With a sigh, disappointed, he stood up and pushed open the door with his veil. As soon as I opened the door of the house, there was a sudden uproar of people, which made Nangong Yiling for a long time. In front of him, there was a fence yard surrounded by wood. In front of him, there was a street. People came and went on the street, shouting, and all kinds of voices suddenly burst into his ears, which caught him off guard. "Oh, you're recovering fast." All of a sudden, a familiar voice came into my ear, which made Nangong Yi turn his head, look to the side, smile, and nod. Xiao Wu lifted the chicken in his hand with a smile and shook it in front of Nangong Yi. "Ha," he said with a smile, "you are seriously injured. You can't eat porridge alone. I made a choice for a long time. I finally bought a chicken. We'll have chicken soup tonight." Then, without waiting for Nangong Yi to reply, he turned and walked towards the room. "If you don't mind other people's eyes, you can walk around the tribe now." Nangong Yi nodded, pushed open the wooden door, and walked towards the street. This time, Nangongji, dressed in white and wearing white gauze, suddenly attracted the attention of the whole street. But Nangongji didn't seem to see half of it. He walked straight forward. His eyes around him were like half of the light, and gradually gathered to Nangongji. Maybe I don't know who told the patriarch about this unfathomable master in the tribe. Just as Nangongji was walking in the street to understand the situation, someone in front of him suddenly called out, "Patriarch is coming!" All of a sudden, the people on the street are gradually leaning towards Nangongji, surrounded by Nangongji and the patriarch. Nangong Yi is a little strange. He looks at the old man standing in front of him with a smile on his face and bows to him. "Are you the patriarch?" "Ah, Lord Wuzuan, you don't have to be polite." The old man in front of him reached out to hold Nangongji and arched his hand to Nangongji. "I heard from below that Lord Wuzuan came to our tribe and really welcomed him for such a long time. Please forgive me. Nangong, he can't help but stay. In this way, this tribe must have people who are higher than their own realm. Otherwise, why do they know their own realm, but they don't neglect it?" He arched his hand quickly. I don't dare to. I'm just seriously injured. I'm in a coma in the poisonous fog of the ancient forest. I'm lucky to be saved by Xiao Wu. Otherwise, I can't stand here." Hearing this, the old man nodded his head, raised his hand, and made a gesture of invitation. He took Nanganji to the patriarch's residence and said, "No matter what, Lord Wuzuan is only here to heal his wounds. Noble guests should be treated with dignity." While walking, he said, "I'm Xiao Xingjie, and Zai Nanganji I." Nangong, he didn't know how to cater to the situation, so he just said his name with a smile and stopped talking. So under the leadership of Xiao Xingjie, Nanganji went into the patriarch's residence. Close your eyes and feel quietly. Sure enough, there are several people in this mansion who are comparable to their own realm. It seems that this place is also a place where crouching tigers, hidden dragons, and dragons lie. Nangong is invited into the room. Before he has time to speak, the door behind him suddenly slams. In an instant, countless warriors come out of the room, holding swords and aiming at Nangong Yi. Almost out of instinct, Nangong Yi's whole body is instantly wrapped by purple fighting spirit. He frowns and looks at Xiao Xingjie in front of him. I don't know what the patriarch means. Just listen to Xiao Xingjie smile, or just as kind and respectful, toward the South Palace Igong Bao. Please forgive me for being so rude. It's just that the war between us and Xinyu tribe is on the verge of breaking out. At this time, a strange, mysterious master comes, which makes us a little timid. Nangong realized that all harmony was an illusion. In fact, these people were very timid about their coming. Thinking about this, I couldn't help smiling, and my fingers touched the veil on my face. Suddenly, the samurai around, all nervous, all of them immediately into a state of high alert. The feeling of the sword let Nangong, he can't help but light way. If I was sent by Xinyu tribe, maybe I've already started. Instead of standing here, let you threaten. But you cover your face like this. Xiao Xingjie, with both hands on his back, walks slowly to Nanganji, who is surrounded by people. Suddenly, he reaches out and grabs Nangong Yi's veil. I'm embarrassed too. Nangong, he almost instinctively flashed back, but he felt the cool wind behind him. He almost leaned against the man's sword behind him and stood still. His eyes became cold. Clan leader, I can't understand this. Otherwise, what are you guilty of? Why take the veil? Xiao Xingjie's original amiable expression suddenly became indifferent. You still say that you are not from Xinyu tribe. Nangong, thin lips light pursed. He understood this matter probably not so good explanation. I just look ugly and can't show others. I hope the patriarch can understand me. If the patriarch needs any help, I will do my best. Nangong said, but he was on high alert. Purple fighting appeared in his palm. If the fight was imminent, he could fight back for the first time. However, judging from his current body, although the realm of these people in front of him is lower than that of himself, he may not be able to retreat completely. And these people around, the heart is also very nervous. Anyway, it's said that this person's realm is Wuzuan. Even if there are many people, it's difficult for so many people to deal with one Wuzuan. For a moment, the whole room was deadlocked. It only exists in the tomb left by the legendary summoner. When the outer boundary is opened, the crowd around can't restrain their greed. Originally out of fear of the strength of several city masters, it seems that it doesn't matter at this time. One by one, like a hungry wolf, they stare at the gate of the palace, as if they are looking at a delicious dish full of fragrance. The border is open. Let's go in. Hualinger looks excited and looks at the open palace door. He wants to run directly to the front. Hualin just wants to stop her, but Yunwu takes the lead. No hurry. Yunwu reaches out to stop her. Fire Spirit Sun Alung, still not urgent? What if they all go in? Look at them one by one. He pointed to the crowd around him. Sure enough, many people were secretly rushing towards the palace gate, but because there were people in front of them who were arranged by the city masters to defend them, they didn't dare to be too radical. Just looking at their expressions now, I'm afraid the riot will happen sooner or later. Cloud Dance didn't speak, on the contrary, Mu Xiaoming on one side opened his mouth with a smile. Xiao Wu said it's not urgent. Naturally, it's not urgent. Don't you see your father didn't leave? Huolinger was stunned and looked towards Huoding's several people. Sure enough, he saw the city leaders standing in the same place, as if they were waiting for something, observing the reaction of the masses from time to time. Huolinger looks at Huolin around him again, hoping to get the answer from him, but found that the other side is frowning at the palace gate, as if trying something in general, so had to not disturb him. Why? How could that be? Huolinger said in surprise. The corner of Mu Xiaoming's mouth was hooked, but he sold the key. Well, it won't be long before you know. Huolinger blinked his eyes, full of surprise. Although he didn't ask again, he didn't say he wanted to go forward. He stood by Yunwu's side obediently, obviously listening to her. The boundary was completely broken by the initial hole, and the whole palace was finally clearly exposed in front of the public. Although it is clear, it is still a light and shadow. Only the gate of the palace can use the space elements to enter through the space. With the breakup of the border, people's eyes become more and more fiery. Even the guards standing in front of them can't let them keep the fear in their hearts, but several city masters still don't mean to leave. The mind is deep. Cloud dance lightly said the vision moves away from those city lord body. Huolinger looks at Yunwu curiously. She really can't understand what she is saying. Just then, at last, there was a riot among the crowd. The border is broken. When do you have to wait before you go in? Lord, what do you mean? Don't you want me to wait in? Don't worry about that. Let's go in there. Otherwise, there will be no treasure in the back. I don't know who was the first to make the sound, just as if a pile of explosives met a fuse. After a word, instantly ignited the group of people who had been ready to move, one by one. Never pay attention to the city masters. Mu Xiaoming's eyes narrowed. With his strength, he immediately caught the appearance of those who took the lead in exporting. However, it can be seen at a glance that those people were all sent out by several city masters. The city masters are all good schemers. It seems that they can't wait. I'm afraid no one is willing to go first. Mu Xiaoming said with a sneer. Huolin's voice interposed. Who is not such a great success? Oh! Mu Xiaoming eyebrows a pick. I did not see the person of Flint Town. The lord of my city said that it's okay for someone else to do bad things. Huolin said, what's important is that after entering the grave, we need to keep our strength. In any case, the people sent to the city are the city masters who can't wait. My city master has a lot of patience. Mu Xiaoming's eyebrows and eyes are stained with a layer of smile. The mantis catches cicadas. The yellow sparrow is behind. While a few people were talking, the riot on the other side had completely broken out. Today, most of the people are not desperate. They could do anything for money. What's more, how can they not do it because of the pressure of several city masters in front of such a big treasure? Sure enough, under the provocation of those people, someone rushed forward quickly. The guards in black rushed forward to block it, but I don't know why. The guards, who were originally like a wall of iron and steel, seemed to be vulnerable at this time, and the defense in front of the crowd broke. Cloud danced, several people squint to see, then found that although the defense was broken, but none of the bodyguards were injured. One after another after the scene became chaotic, they retreated back. It is obvious that these people were allowed to go in after the instruction of the leader. My God! Someone's already in. Don't worry about so much. Hurry up on one side. Someone broke through the defense layer. In such a chaotic scene, it was like the butterfly effect, driving the whole scene. Almost everyone starts at this moment and rushes forward recklessly, for fear that if they accidentally fall behind others, they will never get good things again. Everyone, please wait. Now is not the time. One of the city leaders said, his face full of anxiety, but one eye is full of joy. Don't worry. Go ahead. Listen to their life, and don't want to go in. Although the city leader's words were heard by everyone, but still some people fanned the flames to rush in. In the face of such a huge temptation, who can resist? What's more, at this time, almost all people are crazy. They think that as long as they go into the tomb, there will be a bright future waiting for them. The reason why the city master stopped them is to monopolize the treasure in the tomb. Don't listen to them. I don't know what agreement they have in private. How many families will share this tomb treasure? Where can we benefit then? That's it. Hurry up. Everyone, the city leader's persuasion not only failed to work, but also accelerated the speed of these people. Several city leaders looked at each other and saw the successful look in each other's eyes. Sister Yun, when shall we go in? Not yet? Seeing this, Huolinger quickly said with Cloud dancing sleeve, his face full of anxiety. No hurry. Cloud dance once again. It is these two words. Huolinger was anxious, but he didn't know why he trusted Yunwu very much. Seeing that his father still didn't leave, he forced himself to be quiet, but his face was still worried. Second lady, don't worry. When they enter the border, you will know why. Huolin saw Huolinger's worried face and said. Huolinger's eyes were full of doubts, but he nodded. Just then, the man who had been rushing forward entered the gate. However, what is waiting for them is not huge wealth, but a sudden nightmare. A dash, the scream came out at the moment of entering the palace gate, as if he had encountered some mechanism. The whole person was strangely sucked in. The next moment, the person who had just been well turned into a pile of foam. The people who follow him can see clearly. The great fear makes him dare not to rush forward. He even doubts whether he is in a dream. Otherwise, it is clear that there is great wealth ahead. How can he become the abyss of death? But when he arrived at the gate of the palace, even if he didn't want to rush forward, there were still people pushing forward behind him, and the one standing in the front was directly squeezed into the gate. No, the screams of terror were harsh, but no one paid any attention to them in this chaotic situation. Then another man got in, with a continuous increase of blood foam on the ground. Everyone who goes in will make a scream, but the scream is instantly submerged in chaos. No matter how frightened the people who followed them, they were still crowding forward. Because of this, more and more people died, as if there are countless invisible blades at the palace gate. Kill all the people who enter. Originally good people. As long as they enter the gate, they will be chopped into meat in an instant. Don't come in again. You can't get in here at all. Lord, help me. Help us. I don't want to go in. Don't push any further. Countless frightened voices rang out from the front of the crowd, while several people standing at a high place behind them, watching the cloud dancing at the gate of the palace, were not moved at all. They knew it was going to be like this from the beginning. Huolinger was scared. When he had just entered, he just disappeared. But with more and more people entering, the meat foam on the ground is also more and more. The fresh blood is all over the ground, converging into a very strange river. Until then, people finally realized that those people were killed at the gate instead of entering the palace. The tomb left by the legendary summoner should not be underestimated. Cloud Dance's eyes narrowed and said, "It's almost done." Huolin turns his head and looks at Yunwu in surprise. He doesn't expect that she can even see this. In fact, even Huolin himself could not see when he would be able to enter. He only knew that when he was able to enter, the lord of the city would give orders. But now Cloud Dance can draw a conclusion with its own judgment. People in Flint Town have studied the special features of this tomb. In addition to the previous records of the summoner, they know the real opening way of the palace. It needs the blood of living people to sacrifice. After a certain number of people, the palace will really open. Cloud Dance does not have any information, nor does it really have close contact with the palace, but it can infer from its own perception how terrible this strength is. Well, it's almost there. Lin Yuntong also said. She has been to many places, and she has heard many legends. Although Lin Yuntong is not as strong as Yunwu and Mu Xiaoming, she has a strong sense of external energy and affinity for nature, so she can feel that some of the atmosphere of the palace is weakening. Generally speaking, close your eyes. You can feel more and more the presence of a palace in front of you, not just the presence of light and shadow. Of course, you need to use the space elements at the gate to enter the palace. The chaos lasted for a long time, and it was not known how many people died in the door. Finally, the several city masters who had been watching looked at each other and nodded to each other. It's almost done. We're ready to move. The lord of Mu City in Yulin said, his eyes full of greed. Several other city masters nodded, then raised their hands and ordered the guards in black strong clothes to come forward one after another to pacify the already crazy crowd. Several city masters joined hands to send out all the first-class experts in the nearby towns. It's easy to deal with these people. In addition to the tragic situation at the gate of the palace, panic filled the surrounding crowd, and there was a long time ago to retreat. Treasure is good, but you have to have your life to get it. Lord, help us, Lord of the city. The sound of panic continued to ring, and finally slowly weakened, and finally dissipated. The whole process actually took an hour. During this time, many people were lost in the mechanism at the entrance. When the scene finally calmed down, the number of people was 30% less than at the beginning. Well, why are you so anxious? The Lord Mu of Yulin came out and said with a sad face, "Why don't you listen to me? Do you have to go straight in? We all said it's not the right time, you alas." After that, he made an appearance of hating iron, but not steel. Until then, people finally remembered that at the beginning, it seemed that they did remind everyone that it was not the right time, but who could listen to the situation at that time? This man is really worthy of being the father of that young master. He's just carved out of a mold. It's disgusting. Mu Xiaoming frowned and said, "It's all so artificial. I think it must be his cruel idea. Let those people become stepping stones." What Mu Xiaoming said makes people feel that they can't deny it. On the other hand, the Lord of Mu City spoke again. "Listen to me, the summoner used to be so brilliant. Naturally, what he left behind will not be simple, so we can't enter immediately after the border is opened. That's why we haven't started for a long time. Considering everyone's safety, we specially let people look at him to avoid any injury. But unexpectedly, you will leave, so I broke through the defense." The Lord of Mu City always appears as a gentle and loving image. At this time, as soon as the words came out, the people present immediately thought that it was really their own fault. Unexpectedly, no one thought that it was all set by this seemingly gentle man. "Lord Mu, how can we get in?" Fear, although fear, but for the treasure of the covetous heart still exists. So after the city master said that, someone asked, "Don't worry about that. After all, the tomb has been a long time. After the border disappears, we just need to wait. It won't be long before we can go in. I have to wait." Someone complained, "Well, wait. After all, it's a treasure. I don't want to die like them." Well, it makes sense. You see, the Lord of the city is not in a hurry. We don't have to worry either. Ma Chengzu's words finally calmed the hearts of some people, so people fell into a long wait. Mu Xiaoming sneered, "Cut. Lie with your eyes open. These people can believe him, too." Huolin also despised the practice of Ma Chengzu. Although it can enter the tomb without damaging the reputation of the city lord, the Muching lord who proposed this method is still not welcomed by them. "Let's go." Cloud Dance suddenly says, "Take advantage of now lax a little forward. It won't take long to get in." Everyone was stunned, especially Huolin. He hasn't received any news yet. How can Yunwu be so sure? But Cloud Dance didn't mean to explain, so they took Mu Xiaoming and went inside. Seeing this, Huolin hesitated whether to keep up or not, and then Huolinger ran up in a hurry. "Sister Yin, wait for me. I'll go with you." Huolinger now believes in Yunwu very much. As long as Yunwu says something, she will believe it. "Miss too," Huolin said quickly. At this time, suddenly saw not far away a figure standing there, directed at him to make a long, waiting gesture. Action. Huolin's heart trembled fiercely. He was guessed by Yunwu again. It is clear that they have just arrived here, but with their perception and observation, they have come to the method they have studied for a long time, and they can see through their stratagem at a glance. What kind of strength does such a person have? Huolin didn't dare to think about it, so he quickly followed. After a while's observation, he was almost sure that as long as he followed the Cloud Dance closely after entering the tomb, he would not suffer. The biggest power of Flint Town is to grab the best things together with hoarding. And other treasures can't be let go of naturally, so we have their team. If we want to improve the team's strength, we must make more heroic friends. Originally, Their team was just made up at random, just for the sake of Hualinger's play, and their task was just to protect Hualing. But I didn't expect to meet such a powerful person. Hualing even began to look forward to what was about to happen. In the palace, the mountain of foam at the gate suddenly became illusory. In places where people can't see, there are countless blood, as if they have a life, along some special routes, infiltrating the whole palace. As if a wisp of life poured into it, Yunwu felt the instability in the palace in front of him, and his mouth curved slightly. Finally, I can go in. Xinyu Tribe, Arena. In the short time of a cup of tea, all the fallen people are about to gather in the huge arena. Shangguan stood on the platform and looked around the arena. He could not help but smile. At this time, no one came up to meet Shangguan's challenge. Residents, the competition is now being held in the arena. If any warrior dares to challenge the people on the stage, as long as he wins, he will have 100 taels of gold. After hearing this, all the people under the stage were boiling up. Gold 100 liang. This number for an ordinary resident naturally is very attractive, but in front of this bottomless person, all people are still a little timid. Seeing that all the people under the stage were reluctant to come up, Shangguan sighed helplessly, turned his head and looked at the stage. Patriarch, if there is no one to fight in today's battle, would it be my victory? Sitting in the stands, the Patriarch suddenly turned black and said nothing. Mu Yunling sat beside him. Red eyes, shaking the Patriarch's arm, said, "Dad," I said, "he is not what you think, just because I'm afraid you won't save him. So this is the worst way, but he didn't despise me." With that, Mu Yunling looked at the officer on the stage anxiously and murmured, "How can you treat an outsider like this?" "Nonsense." The Patriarch angrily threw away Mu Yunling's hand, and his eyes turned red. "Is the issue of women's chastity a joke? Are you threatened by him? Don't worry. As the head of your father and Xinyu tribe, I won't let you be bullied by him." "Patriarch, I want a challenge." Under the stage, suddenly someone yelled, and the clan leader and Mu Yunling looked up at the stage at the same time. I saw a tall, thin man suddenly turned over. His face was dark, and his whole body was wrapped up in green fighting spirit, and he was very aggressive. "Hey boy, are you the one who bullied our Muyin little clan leader?" The man, pointing to Shangguan, yelled. Shangguan raised his eyebrow and smiled. He hooked the hook to the man and said faintly, "Don't you come here to have a try and know if I'm bullying Muyunling?" The man's face was blacker. Suddenly, he gave a loud drink and rushed to Shangguan. Shangguan can't help grinning. It seems that this person's moves are very powerful. But in fact, it's just that there's nothing to show. Standing here, Shangguan has already been able to perceive this person's not full of fighting spirit. It's a long way off. You are willing to challenge me. Do you know what I am and what you are? Shangguan was too lazy to start. As soon as the man got close to him, he raised his foot. He didn't even bother to use his fighting spirit and kicked the man off the stage. There was a sigh around, and people began to talk about the origin of the Shangguan. There was a lot of noise in the whole arena. The superior listened to their comments and began to laugh. Mu Yunling looked at Shangguan's back and opened his mouth. "I'll try." Another roar of anger. I saw a big knife flying up from under the stage, straight at Shangguan. Shangguan looked in his eyes and dodged easily. He turned his head and looked at the man who was flying up from the stage. He said, "You are not so kind, brother. How can you beat people without saying anything? We are a martial arts contest, not an assassination. What do you think?" In a daze, the man drew a big knife from the platform and cut it at the Shangguan. Shangguan left and right to avoid too, raised his hand to hold the man's knife handle, backhand toward the man's chest. The man sidestepped to avoid, but Shangguan pursued him closely. As soon as he grasped the handle of the man's knife, the knife in the man's hand fell into Shangguan's hand. Shangguan sneered and threw the knife at the man's neck. Before the crowd could see Shangguan's action, he saw his sword flying towards his neck. The wind scared the man to jump off the platform. "Aha!" Shangguan's laughter reverberated in the sky above the arena. There was silence under the stage. Brother, you are good. Compared with the one who has not told me just now, you have done 4 moves with me. It's worth encouraging. On the stage, the old patriarch's face was black to the extreme. The whole person was shaking, and his clenched fists were shaking. Muyunling closed lips, but could not hide the smile and excitement in the eyes. Shangguan haughtily looked around the stage and said in a loud voice, "Who else is there?" So countless people came up, and countless people were kicked down, and there was silence under the stage. In addition to the comments, no one dared to ask for advice. Shangguan raised his head, looked at the old patriarch's face, raised a big smile. "How, patriarch? I don't know if you can fulfill your promise at that time." "So say." But see, the patriarch turned to the people around, nod. "I saw a tall and thin young man around me, suddenly flying down from the stand and landed in front of Shangguan." It was not until this man appeared that Shangguan suddenly became serious. This man's realm is equal to his own. Looking at the serious Shangguan in front of him, the man was not careless, but said in a low voice, "You can feel my realm." Naturally, Shangguan tilted his mouth and screamed. His eyes were burning, and his whole body was suddenly wrapped by black energy. At that moment, the strong air field suddenly changed the face of the man in front of him, and the whole person was wrapped up by the blue fighting air. Sitting on the stage of the patriarch, but suddenly shocked from the table, he ran to the railing of the grandstand, looked at the Shangguan carefully, swallowed his saliva, turned pale, and waved. The attendant came forward and lowered his head. The old patriarch attached something to his ear and let the man go down. Shangguan and men did not act rashly. "You're from the Beast Gate?" The man says coldly. The voice is not big, but just let the superior hear. "Can anyone see this place?" Shangguan's heart could not help sinking, and his eyes gradually became alert. "How? Have you ever contacted the people of the Beast Gate?" The man suddenly laughed, didn't speak, shook his head. Suddenly the whole body fighting disappeared. He stood up, clasped his fist, arched his hand, and said, "I lost." With a look of consternation, the Shangguan looked at the murderous man in front of him, and suddenly he gave up and didn't know what to say. After a long time, he coughed twice and scratched his head. "That know you. It's rude." The man's respectful attitude suddenly gave Shangguan a bad feeling. Does it mean that this place, the Beast Gate, has already set foot in it? Think so. Suddenly sneer a 10,000 animal door where they won't come. For a moment, the feeling of continuing to fight had disappeared. Shangguan sighed and turned to walk under the competition platform. "Young Xia, stay." Hearing the old patriarch's voice behind him, he let Shangguan pause, turned his head, and gave the old patriarch a light look. "I don't know what else is the matter with the patriarch. Can't I go yet?" I saw the patriarch suddenly changed his previous attitude and became respectful. He said with a smile, No, please calm down, young Xia. I didn't know you were from the beast sect before. I'm sorry for the misunderstanding." Shangguan could not help but frown. His face suddenly became indifferent. He did not retort, but nodded and turned away. "Young Xia, wait. I still have something to say." The old clan leader suddenly stopped Shangguan, stood in front of him, arched his hand to Shangguan, and said, "I still have one thing to ask for. I hope you can help me." "What's the matter?" Shangguan didn't look at him. He said lightly, "Today, the people of Xinyu tribe and Shao tribe don't know when the other tribe will attack because of some things. I hope you can help us then." "Because of what?" Shangguan looked at the respectful look of the old clan leader when he learned that he was a man of Wanwoman, and thought that the man knew Wanwoman so well. Shangguan pondered for a while, nodded. "Yes, but you have to tell me the reason for this war." The old patriarch nodded in a hurry, made a gesture of invitation, and took the Shangguan to the mansion. Xinyu tribe. In the house full of swords, Xiao Shunji's face is still amiable, and Nanganji, standing among countless swords, is still calm. "But Lord Wuzong, if you don't lift the veil today, I can't believe you anyway." Xiao Xinji sighed. "Then I don't know what the patriarch is going to do." Nangang Yi's cold voice reverberated quietly in the room, as if there was no tension or worry. Calmly said, although I am seriously injured, but if the Patriarch wants to take my life here is still some difficulties, so I also hope that the Patriarch can take a long-term view with me. After a pause, the clan leader bowed his head and thought for a while, then frowned. But your realm is too high. If you suddenly have something wrong, we can't stop you at all. Nangong Yi's eyebrows drooped and seemed to hesitate for a moment. He immediately raised his head and gave a smile. I know what the Patriarch is thinking, but I can't make fun of you with my life. If you have to fight against me, I will rush out of here. This sentence immediately angered Xiao Xingjie, who had already relaxed his vigilance, and sneered, Lord Wuzong, if you say that, I'm afraid I can't have a good talk with you. With a cold smile, Xiao Xingjie suddenly turns his head and looks at the people around him. The people around him nod and attack Nangong Yi. Just then, there was a sudden noise outside. Let me in, Patriarch. You let me in. This Master Wuzong is the one I saved. I have to make it clear to you. Xiao Wu's voice suddenly sounded outside the residence, followed by a loud noise outside. Xiao Xingjie frowned and looked at Nangong Yi. Why? Is this your man? No, this is my savior. Nangong Yi smiles and his tone is very relaxed. Then tell him to come in and confront him face to face. The Patriarch nodded to the doorkeeper, so the man opened the door and called Xiao Wu in. As soon as he entered the door, Xiao Wu's face suddenly turned pale, because in this room, countless swords aimed at Nangong Yi. Nangong Yi, dressed in white, stood in it, but it seemed that he was going to be bullied. Patriarch, don't be afraid. This Master Wuzong is a good man. He didn't come from Xinyu tribe. You misunderstood him. Xiao Wu hurried forward to rescue Nangong Yi, but those people stare at him coldly and don't mean to get out of the way. Xiao Wu is unarmed and timid. Good man? You just saved a man to come in. I haven't held you accountable yet. How can you defend him? Xiao Xingjie angrily scolds Xiao Wu, so scared that Xiao Wu flops down on his knees, sweating. Nangong Yi frowned slightly. Looking at Xiao Wu kneeling in front of him, he said faintly, Brother Xiao, I'll deal with the things here. I don't need to trouble you. Xiao Wu turned his head and looked at Nangong Yi with red eyes. Then he turned his head and looked at Xiao Xingjie again. Patriarch, you are treating a seriously injured patient like this. It's really, you don't have to say much. Xiao Xingjie denounced. Come on, drive him out. He turned to Nangong Yi and said angrily, as a security risk of our tribe, we have to get rid of it. So today, I have to see your true face. Absolutely not. Xiao Wu suddenly stood up and stood in front of Nangong Yi. He was angry. How can the Patriarch be so disrespectful? Nangong Yi sighed, reached out and patted Xiao Wu on the shoulder, motioned him to withdraw. Looking up at Xiao Xingjie, I promise you to help your tribe reconcile with Xinyu tribe. If it doesn't work, I will help your tribe defeat Xinyu tribe. How about that? Xiao Xingjie's eyes suddenly brightened, looking at Nangong Yi, a face unbelievable. What you said is true. Nangong Yi nodded, naturally, but I need you to provide me with healing ground and pills. It's easier to reach an agreement if there are exchange terms. It seems that Xiao Xingjie has been troubled by the problems of the two tribes for a long time. Hearing Nangong Yi's words, he is less suspicious of Nangong Yi. But still don't believe. But if you break the contract, what can we do for you now? Nangong Yi's brow is slightly wrinkled, seems to be a little displeased. Silent for a long time, did not speak. Then he turned around and walked to the door as if he could not see the sword in front of him. Brother Xiao, let's go. I don't think there's any need to talk about it here. When Xiao Wu is still in a daze, he turns his head to see Nangong Yi in white. Just as he wants to open his mouth and shout carefully, Nangong Yi's purple fighting spirit suddenly surges out in front of him. Suddenly, the powerful aura made everyone around pale and took a big step back. In the spacious house, everyone is 1 meter away from Nangong Yi unconsciously. The powerful aura makes some people with lower realm pale and sweat. What a terrible man he is. Now he is seriously injured, and he has such powerful energy. Xiao Xingjie suddenly realized how terrible it was that he was talking to such a person just now. Nangong, he didn't turn his head and stood at the door of the room. The two men with swords in front of him were shaking all over, and the swords were unstable. Patriarch, maybe you don't believe me, Nanganji, but I don't need to waste my time here, said, push aside the two people around toward the door. Wait, I agree. Xiao Xingjie yelled, arched his hand, bowed his body, and said, I just asked Lord Wuzong to save our tribe. Nangong Yiduan stopped, turned his head, covered his face behind the veil, and raised a faint smile. So Xiao Xingjie invited Nangong Yi to the reception room inside and refused all the others to enter here. Then he closed the door and poured a cup of tea for Nangongji. Haha, he said with a smile. That's it. Tell me first, who told you my realm? The South Palace, he thinks, picked up the cup to taste the tea. Light ask. Xiao Xingjie lowered his head, sighed, and gave a wry smile. Naturally, there are other masters. The master of other places. This ambiguous answer. Nangong Yi Wei frowned, but did not speak, quietly listened to Xiao Xingjie said. Now the situation is like this. We already know that Xinyu tribe has invited a master, which may be as good as your realm. The other side has agreed to deal with us. Therefore, the appearance of such high-level people in the two tribes makes us all doubt whether you will be together. Nangong Yi suddenly realized that the other side's tribe was also very strong, which made the Patriarch so afraid. I don't know if the Patriarch knows what kind of situation caused the two tribes to be so hostile. I heard that the two tribes used to make friends, didn't they? Hearing this, Xiao Xingjie sighed and shook his head. I just don't know why some time ago, people began to say that Xinyu tribe was going to deal with our tribe, trying to annex and enslave it. Since ancient times, we Xinyu tribe have always been people who don't commit crimes. But recently, there have been too many rumors, so it's hard to be suspicious. Xiao Xingjie raised his head, and his turbid eyes were all serious. This time, we heard that the other tribe had invited experts of Wuzong realm, and we were sure that if we didn't make preparations in advance, we would be caught off guard. Nangong Yi listens, nods, and ponders, but who reveals that the other side is also a master of martial arts, and who reveals his own realm. Secretly, someone must be behind the scenes. Don't worry, I'll help you with this, but I'm seriously injured now. If I go to fight each other at this time, I will definitely lose. There was a sudden silence in the room. Nangong Yi is not in a hurry. He drinks tea and looks at the old man in front of him, looking down and meditating, until Xiao Xingjie finally raised his head and nodded solemnly. Master Wuzong, to tell you the truth, we do have a place for people to heal and cultivate. If Master Wuzong goes to that spring to cultivate, he can not only cure his wounds, but also improve his accomplishments. That you're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.